Hello everybody and welcome back to Chaotic Neutral Games and our D&D 5th edition campaign, The Benefactor. I'm here with Felicia, Rodrigo, Corinne, Nick and Kate. We won't be able to see Nick's beautiful face because his internet is crapping out on him and we'd rather his voice than his face apparently. So, let's say hi to the guys and we'll do a recap. Hello everyone!
Hello!
Hello.
Also, rude. Rude.
Such rude.
I'm allowed to like one part of you better than the other. Remember our conversation. So,
Do you know, I'm going to hate her. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to hate.
previously on The Benefactor, they took a detour between the town of Vaughnford and Location X, a strange location on the coast of the Vardencourt lands, specifically the lands of Duke Edmund Ostermark, who also owns Ostergald, the city that they're all from. And on the way there, they decided to make a slight detour to a location that was discovered by Eclipse and some of the NPCs that she's met to start to track down the Heart of Duradan, an artifact. They're not quite sure what it is. It's just called the Heart of Duradan, and it once belonged to Duradan the Great, a Genghis Khan type figure, a tabaxi, line-headed, magnificent, a figure from history who was responsible for a lot of conquest in the Vardencourt lands, but also many people were won over by what he could do for them. And as many people as he conquered, many went to his side willingly. This was something that was explained when they fought through an underground temple that was taken over by some undead. And the undead seemed to be following the master. Now, after some attacks that they had recently, one by a strange flesh golem that was able to divide itself into smaller versions of itself every time it got hurt, and also a lich hound and a deathlock attacking Aiden and Cora, they decided that this was probably the same person, the same master. They overheard a deathlock speaking to a geist, the geist being used some sort of messenger. And they heard that the master knew about these Benefactor crew, and specifically that Eclipse was on the scent of the Duradan legacy. They fought through. They killed the Deathlock like a bunch of Black Ops. If you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch some serious D&D be done. Yeah, I mean, my God, they went in there like they were all like level 20 ninja class, and they were just going in and taking names.
When you get the rogue to crit, it's just.
Well, it was just the fact that you had like control spells a go-go as well. You even had some redundancy in there, so if one missed, the others kicked off. And also we had Aiden, our resident blood hunter, an undead blood hunter specifically, who went into the hunt, and they saw his eyes visibly change, his behavior suddenly become very focused, and he spent a lot of time casting gun at these things and turning them into paste. So we got to see some really cool moves from Aiden. Unfortunately for the second episode, without Rodrigo because of timetable clashes. But he's back now and able to continue with the role-playing part of it all, which is the more important part. But needless to say, Nick did you proud, Rodrigo. He cast gun a lot. Things fell down and didn't come up a lot. You spoke to one of Duradan's advisors or generals, and he said that he was responsible for making sure... Oh, hello, Trouble.
Trouble!
Love him.
Yep, that's the real-life Chaotic Neutral mascot, by the way.
That's Nick going.
We love Tarathok, but, real life.
You be quiet!
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Let him speak!
I will not be silenced. Feed me, human.
So noisy.
This large feline skull carried... seems topical. This large feline skull talked to Eclipse of the Moon and ended up lamenting for the fact that their responsibility was to seek any weakness or corruption from within, and through a a certain amount of distraction and hubris, failed, frankly, at this role. And at the end of this monologue, they asked Eclipse to name them. Name them so they may be free. And the rule that I gave is that I had a word in mind, and if the word that Eclipse said was considered a synonym when I put it into Google, she had passed. She said arrogance, my target was pride, they were both synonyms, and so she got the canopic jar, which shifted out of a kind of pushed out of time, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey thing, and she has now the first canopic jar. Because of the respect that was given by the group, and also why they explained why they were there, and they had managed to get rid of the desecration that was being done by a pack of Bodaks, terrible undead creatures that can kill you with a look.
Which we managed by having an acid wall around them so they couldn't look at us.
Oh yeah, you completely minced them up with an acid wall. It was disgusting. And these Bodaks were all destroyed, and because you had returned peace to this place and showed respect, the being, before they disappeared, said, "A gift." And as they did so, the fireplace that they were kind of hovering in front collapsed inwards, and a large rug fell to the floor. This thing is 10 foot by 6 foot. It's probably a few inches deep. We're talking like 3 or 4 inches deep. Long, beautiful tapestry type rug. And you came to the conclusion by Glory quickly looking through her opal that it had some magic. And this appears to be some sort of magic carpet. You also found...
What can it be?
Hey, it could be a carpet of smiting. You don't know. You don't know.
The carpet does 1d8 smite damage on the products.
It could be. You can use it to pull.
Because hence the gift that Felicia posted earlier on Twitter.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Although if you start singing that, you will lose XP. I know this is a milestone thing. I'll find a way of making you lose XP.
Go on, Kate. Go on. You waited the entire
other things
campaign
that you
for this
found.
moment.
You found effectively a torture chamber that only when you pulled Farewell into the room did he reveal that the word on the wall was penance. And this is where the monks, or the lowercase m, so they weren't kind of like ninja monks, but they were members of an order, would punish themselves to get rid of their pride, their hubris, to stay humble, so that they could atone for this guardian's sins and eventually have him relieved of his duty, of his penance under the gods. You found a secret room in which there were 6 sarcophagi, each one with a +1 weapon, apart from a staff, which was a staff of spider climb. You thought that you might grab it, then decided with the very curt warning on the wall to leave these guys be and respect these former custodians of this temple. So you let them all be, walked away, and as you did so, the weapons disappeared, and you suddenly got the ghostly image of all these guardians fighting the various invaders over the years. It was a very beautiful scene as the spirits thanked you by showing you who they are. Those weapons, by the way, have not disappeared completely. They have disappeared to other places in Alaria.
Oh.
You finally found the bedroom, the custodian's bedroom. So the person responsible for keeping the temple. In there, you found a chest that you've not opened, a book in a strange script, which you're thinking of giving to Farewell, I think it is, to determine what the script says. And that's where we are. There's hopefully you remember the map from before, because I'm not going to bring up Roll20. I need to fix how Roll20 and OBS are talking to each other at the moment. I need to end up putting a third screen in just to get it all working and capture it straight off another screen, which does put a lot of pressure on the internet as well, as you can imagine. So we're not going to be using any maps today, but if you But I mean, you should be able to remember the map that you had before, and I think you guys can actually go into Roll20 and look at that map anyway as players. So if you need to do that, then great. But there was, just to describe the rooms, the entrance, which was an assembly hall with a kind of lectern at the front. There was a small room which the Geist was in with the Deathlock, and that has some sort of ritual circle in it. There was a storeroom which the first of the ghasts that you found was tearing it apart. There was a very humble dorm room where straw pallets with kind of blankets and things over them, very, very simple living, were in there, and I think it could sleep about 7 or 8 people. It sounds about right. There was a small eating quarters and a pantry/kitchen behind. Very, very simple, meagre food. Then you had the main ritual chamber, which had this sarcophagus inside, and it was the sarcophagus that held this general. Off to one side, as a place of honor, so through a secret door in that room, was the 6 sarcophagi of the previous custodians. Then further down the corridor, there was the penance chamber, which had some cells in there as well, just in case somebody was going to lose their mind. It was kind of for their own safety. It had, basic comforts in it, and then it had next to that, the custodian themselves. The custodian had their bedroom going off the torture chamber, well, the penance chamber, sorry, because the custodian should never lose track of why they're here. And so they were sleeping there, living there, whatever, and taking care of those who were taking penance for the penitent, which is the person that you freed. You're underground. Everybody's dead, Dave. It's just you. It's a reasonably safe place to rest if you wish to do so. There's not exactly silk sheets on beds and things, but it's at least safe. The spirits that were here are approving of you, so that part's fine as well. So you have a book, a chest, anything else you would like to look for, and research if necessary. And then after that, you can leave on to the next place.
I was gonna say. I was just gonna say, just give Aiden a horizontal surface, and he can, and we'll sleep on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I wrote down that we got is got a canopic jar from Argents, also probably magic carpet, book in old. So so we have a book that is in old, as Simon put it when I tried to read it, because I got a low score.
It's a very old dialect, yeah.
So that one's going to the historians in the city.
Right.
I want us to take a look in this chest in the room Glory was examining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds very good.
Sounds good to me. Let me just bring up my notes on that. So, what would you like to do? Who's going up to it? How are they checking it?
I can open it with Mage Hand if you want to open it from range.
Okay, sure. So, let's see. Okay, yep. So, you'll want to do a check. I just need to check the DC on this.
I can also open it. I can pick it from range if it's locked, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So. Apologies, it seems to have gone off that.
It's okay.
That's
The world
fine.
time just pauses for a second as a DM checks.
As you're inspecting this,
Pause.
yeah.
Pause menu in Skyrim, everything freezes.
Okay, yep, I'm good now. So, if you would like to do a Thieves' Tools check.
Yes. Let's cut. Okay, so that would be dirty 20.
Even though you're certain with this type of lock that you're doing everything perfect, you fail to pick the lock. It just seems to resist you.
Oh, really?
Wait, let me just double check. Yes, that would be a dirty. Yeah, I'm just like, because my dex has increased, so I was gonna double check.
Yes, you're all level 8
12
now.
plus 8.
Yep, that's something we forgot to mention. So all of the characters have got interesting goodies. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. You're certain that you nailed it, Eclipse. You know, you've seen this type of lock before. You know, lock technology hasn't exactly gone ridiculous in the last 100 years. You know, locks are locks. And yeah, you're certain that that should have done it.
Can I try again?
I
Eclipse will
guess
not be
yes.
defeated by a lock.
Yes,
Yes,
I would say you can.
Does anyone want to help me? Can anyone help me with this, or this is not a thing you can do to help action on, is it?
I have
I'm
no
not
idea
there.
how you do stuff like that, Eclipse.
Possible.
Sorry, dearie.
But I'm not
I
in the
can take a
room, so
look
I don't
if
know
it's
you do
magic, but other than that, you're pretty much on your own.
Corinne, you are very relieved that no trap went off because you did not do an investigation check on this chest before you picked it.
Which is why I'm picking it from range. That was why.
I know, but it could have blown the chest sky high and everything in it.
It could be a
Yes.
mimic.
Bloody doors off!
Yes. Yes, I should have done an investigation check. I forgot.
Shame on you.
Uh,
I thought you were the
shame on me.
rogue.
Yes.
I'm taking a short
That's
rest while they do this.
all. Yeah.
I
That's
imagine
less-
by this stage I would have wandered in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're there too.
Can I just keep trying, Simon, or is it like because we're not in initiative or we're not in
Sure,
any
you can roll
type-
again. Nick, you're in. What do you want to be looking at?
I'm going to go over to that primordial that's written and scrawled on the wall.
Sure, it's large letters and it just says penance.
Yeah, so I'm going to I'm going to take some of the. I think I've got chalk or something.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Chalk is a common
I
item.
imagine I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just going to. And in primordial, I'm going to write "Your duty is done" underneath it.
Sure.
And just leave it there. And then there's something I wanted to have a look at, and I'm just trying to get that map to load back up again. So bear with me 1 second. Roll 20 has just decided it wanted to stop.
I was about to say, if you're having trouble with your internet, adding roll 20 to it may not help you.
Yeah, it does not help. I'm like, is everything alright, Eclipse? You look a bit perturbed.
Yes, I'm just trying to get this lock open, but it's resisting me quite a bit actually. I think I'll be alright, but it's just being a bit difficult.
Do you want me to have a look at it?
But if you like, if you think you can do anything about it, maybe some magic on it.
So what have you done? Just so I understand.
I just tried to pick it, but it seemed
did
like
you
it
think-
should have worked. But I thought it worked, but it won't open.
Okay, that usually means magic. I'm going to cast Dispel Magic on it.
Absolutely.
I'm going
What
to
level?
use my third level spell. Third level.
Third level. Sure.
I don't. Well, technically, I do have a fourth level spell slot, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
where in the timeline I've got my abilities back. But yeah, at third.
Sure. You watch as Farewell just throws a gesture towards it, and this is something that's within the Raven Queen's wheelhouse, certainly, because you're calling this to end. You're calling this energy to dissipate, and I'm sure if Merrick was here, I need to put a pin in that and actually do something in a sec. But yeah, so
I don't like that.
if Merrick was
No,
here,
it's nothing bad.
it's
nothing
fine.
Bad.
It's me being grateful for some stuff, but I kind of ran straight into this and forgot to do an announcement. He would say that you were calling entropic forces and getting the energy to go wherever energy goes when it gets dispersed. As you throw it, it pops. There's a kind of a popping sensation in the back of your head, Farewell, and you know that you have dispelled at least one magical effect.
I got one, and maybe more.
I tried to open it with the mage hand.
Good stuff. Roll.
Roll what?
For picking the lock, I assume.
Yeah, pick the lock.
Oh, okay, again. Okay.
Yeah.
That's less. That's 15. No. Yes, 15.
Okay. You hit it on the nose. The lock goes click, and the
Oh,
chest is
nice
unlocked.
one.
Nice.
It opens. Did he say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
unlocked.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, what's in it? What's in it?
I just loosened it up. Well, have a look.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What's in it?
Okay.
Oh, dear GM.
So as you open it up, and how far away from this are you, Farewell? I want to know if you can see inside.
Good dexterity saving throw. There was no traps on the outside, but the inside, man, that's rigged to fucking go.
Boom.
It's just a bunch of dynamite that's about to go off.
Yeah.
What is dispel magic range?
Dispel magic, I think you've got like 30 foot.
Yeah.
I'm a good sort of 5 or 10 feet away from it.
Sure. Okay. So Eclipse, although I have a feeling that based on the tension, you're going to tell me something. How are you opening this
Dispel
chest?
magic is 120 feet.
I know, but I'm still like.
But he has to be in the room to see it.
The
So
room
yeah.
is
Yeah.
I said I open it with mage hand like a good bit away, and then
Okay.
if nothing goes off, I'll
In that
go
case,
up
the
to
DC goes down. Do me a dex saving throw.
It's only 20 feet long, the room.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Do I need to make a dex save as well?
No, you're off to one side. I've ruled it.
Oh,
Yeah.
She's the one opening it, and so she has to be kind of pointed more or less to it.
Are you trying to teach her a lesson?
I'm
Yes,
just
I
gonna.
think he is.
I'm basically I want
Curious
to attack
cat's getting
somebody
nuked.
with this trap, and I'm going to punish the rogue for not doing the investigation check.
Yes,
Yeah.
18.
18, sure. You duck out the way as this thin stiletto needle made out of metal and weeping with a type of fluid hits the wall and sticks.
I thought you checked for traps usually.
I forgot. I was very excited.
I suggest that I pretend that didn't happen and that we don't mention it to anybody else.
That sounds like a good idea.
Isn't Glory in the room as well?
Yeah.
And Cora, who's probably been
I'm
intently
not in
watching.
the room. I'm sitting in the cells, but I'm listening to everything while I chill out and relax.
Yeah, I'm not in the room either. The only one who you'd be hiding this from will be Aiden.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
well, the only...
Surely Aiden's asleep on the rack.
Because he needs to go like full goth.
Yes.
I mean,
Horizontal floor.
actually, I'll probably just be sleeping on the floor. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Like a
You
puppy,
did your
just curled
hunt,
up.
now it's nap time.
Okay. Yes.
I mean-
so
Are
sorry.
you okay, at least?
Yes. I'm quite okay. I'm good at dodging.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll go with that. Perhaps you should check the rest of it before you go digging through it.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'll check for traps now, Simon.
Okay, do me an investigation check. And what are you doing? Just checking the... Well, how about I tell you what the insides look like first? Okay, that's probably a good start. So inside of this chest, The left-hand side is almost entirely folded robes and clothes. There's a nice pair of satin shoes. Seems to be reasonably stylish, if a little old. Kind of an antique style that never went out of fashion in this world. They seem to be made out of velvet. Then there's a pack of folded clothes, folded very, very neatly. And some of them are looking a bit faded, a bit old. There's quite a nice looking pile of robes, looks like ceremonial robes. They have a very interesting kind of cross stitch and black work on them, but they seem to be made of a Hessian type material. Bear in mind, this is supposed to be a cult of penance. They seem to be both ornamental but also uncomfortable to wear. There are 3 bottles. There's a large blue bottle with a ornamental glass stopper in it. There's a smaller bottle that's kind of a reddish brown, and it's got kind of gold leaf on the outside, and the screw top that's on it has got a little lock. It's not a lock that's like a padlock. You don't have to unlock it, but all it is that you have to pull out a pin. You think to stop the stopper coming out accidentally. So whatever was inside was clearly important. Then there's
Do you recognize any of these items at all?
Let me finish saying them first, and then
yeah.
we can go through them. Then there's a tiny, tiny vial, probably no bigger than your thumb, and it has a small white milky liquid in it. The milky liquid seems to have gained like a straw-coloured thin fluid on top, and there's a compass. So there's this beautiful small ornate brass compass that seems to be open. It opens like a pocket watch, but it's sat there in the middle, open already. Interesting thing about that is that it doesn't have anything that says north, south, east, west, any of that kind of thing. And finally, there's a very small chest, and it's probably around about the size of a kind of a brick, I guess, the size of a brick, and it looks like a small money chest. And okay, now you can ask me questions regarding this.
Okay, so is the chest like this small and...
No, it's about the size of a brick, a house brick.
Oh, okay. Is it... Okay. Okay, so it actually seems that it will open rather than just being like a little decoration thing.
Yeah, it has a hinge, it has a lid, it has a little clasp on it, and there's a tiny, very, as I say, ridiculously tiny rusted padlock on there. You think that you could probably whack off. I mean, it's a tiny, tiny thing to the padlock.
Anyway, what I want to do first before I touch anything is to check for traps around the inside of the thing and see if there's any, if I put my hand in there, if I'm gonna like get my hands chopped off or something like that.
Eclipse
Sure.
has been
Why would
traumatized.
you do that? What a weird thing.
I'll get you to do some rolls in a second, but I'd forgotten something. Apologies, Michelle. I said I'd put it at the beginning. So I'm going to show you a piece of cool art.
Oh, nice.
I now have Feline Trickster, who you'll see in the break. We've put some of her work up there. She did the picture of Renata Green. She's done the picture, well, one of the pictures of Eclipse of the Moon. And she's done other various pictures for various campaigns I've run in the past. Fantastic work. If you are lucky enough to get a commission in, which Nick recently has, so we're going to be seeing a fair way.
I probably will too. I don't know.
Yeah, she's seriously talented. Really, really good. I love how she puts her work together. And as much as we've got Felicia, grinding out some amazing art, I've also been a fan of Michelle, aka Feline Trickster. For a while.
what I especially love about Michelle is that if it's for D&D character and stuff, you can just give it a description of the character and she absolutely nails the design every time.
Yeah.
I've never had to ask to change anything in any of the pictures she's made.
Yeah. So what we get as for being patrons to the level that we are is that we get to have a ink sketch once a month. And last month, Corinne asked me, because I wasn't a Patreon back then, asked me, did I want a sketch done? And I said, absolutely. I've got Merrick Briarstone coming up, and I'd like a picture of him, because he's also going to be one of my player characters eventually. And so if I just bring it up at the moment. There we go. There's my boy. And I love what she did with him. So on the stream now, I've put up a goblin in a hat with a little waistcoat, and he's got this lovely Mandarin collar and everything else. And I fell in love with him straight away. He's so cool. And as I say, he's going to have regular flesh. He's got olive skin. Yeah, whatever. You didn't like him, but he's my boy. And I'm going to very much enjoy using the goblin hide as a bonus action and then firing a spell with advantage every turn. So that's going to be sweet. So there we go. So yeah, I'm sure you will see more Feline Trickster, as say, aka Michelle, art in future. And if you please look up Feline Trickster on Patreon, you will get an ink sketch a month. And it's beautiful every time. It's amazing. She's currently working on one or two options.
Those slots are currently full, though.
Are they?
Damn it!
No, I think the ink sketch is still open because I put myself on. So it's worth checking.
It's worth checking.
Certainly, yeah. And especially for me, where I have tons of NPCs to say, oh yeah, can you draw this person? Can you draw that person? I'll definitely have something every month. And so I'll be featuring more of Michelle's art on here as we go along. Apologies, Michelle, I was going to put it at the beginning, but I just launched straight into the intro. Anyway.
That's fair.
Back to Eclipse. Do me an investigation roll to start with.
Yay! So that's a 17.
Okay. You know that the chest is not trapped. You check around the base of it as you do so, and the compass and the bottles don't seem to be trapped. You can't quite see until you start kind of rifling through them. You can't see if there's anything nestled in amongst the clothing. And the chest itself, it looks a little it looks like it's starting to rot a little bit. It's got like a kind of wet look to the metal. Sorry, to the wood.
So it's clear. Is this the small one or the big one?
The little chest.
The little chest. So the little chest is clearly not magical then, because it's rotting.
It's got a patter of. There's a bit of a smell. It's a bit Fausty. Yeah, it's probably not a magical item.
Anything exciting?
I can't find any traps or anything, so I think it's safe to have a look at these things now. I'll stop. So the clothes, Simon. Was any of them seem to be quite in good condition?
Yeah, the one with the black work and the cross stitch on it seem to be in pretty good nick. And bear in mind, this chest seems to be oiled around the sides, so it probably kept out a lot of the air, a lot of the problematic moisture and things. You look at some of the trousers that they have there, and they faded very slightly, and there seems to be where they folded, there's kind of these little bleach marks where they were folded. But other than that, they seem fairly fine. I mean, you'd probably be able to use them for roughing it in. Good travel clothes. And I say there's a lovely pair of shoes.
Yeah. I take out the shoes. So the shoes are just normal shoes. Glory, can you check if any of these things are magical, please?
Sure. I'll take a look at them. Literally.
Sure. You what are you doing, Gloria? You've got a pair of shoes. They're nice. They seem to be kind of unisex, based on medieval styles. Wearing velvet was considered to be a matter of class and not a matter of gender. So yeah, they're velvet slippers.
Their shoes, Eclipse. And velvet at that. That's warm. Ew. I look at them through the eye and just like, is there anything?
Yep. They have elements of transmutation.
Something on them. I guess it's with keeping them in good condition, but like velvet, really, so last century.
These were probably made last century.
That is fair.
If you can try to figure these out, what kind of magical properties they have, would you like to have a look at the other things in here and see if any of them are obviously magical?
Sure, I'll take a look at the stuff inside the chest.
Sure. You can see. Oh, let me check something. No, that's fine. So yeah, you can see that the robe has evocation. Let me just quickly check. The small milky fluid has divination. The large blue bottle is completely mundane. And the brown liquid, you take a look at it, and just from the magical signature alone, because I'm going to say you've probably looked at a healing potion before, this is a stale healing potion. And considering it's magical, they take a long time to get this way.
So
that's a healing potion gotten bad. Don't drink it.
Give me an Arcana check, Glory.
Okay, sure. Uh, 21?
Sure. You know that if you take this to a skilled alchemist, he can actually distill and refresh this. When they go bad, they don't work anymore, but they can be reconstituted because it's not as if it's rotted. It's just denatured slightly, and you're pretty sure there's some sort of ritual they do with silver dust that will regenerate its properties. And this is a greater healing potion.
Oh, nice.
Save it, though. Someone can fix it. Here, I'll take it. I know a few alchemists. Then we had the robes were slightly magical. The other bottle is divination something. I think we'll show that to Renata and she'll know what it is.
Okay, I'll take the little bottle and put it in my bag then.
Okay. Yep. Make sure you put down that you have a divination bottle. Just put that note down, and when you eventually, if you don't forget about it, go to check it out. I'll give you the
35 episodes later, you go out and just randomly drink it because everybody forgot about it.
Yeah.
What's this? I think it's alcohol. Whoop. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
The robes and stuff.
The
I
robes
give
of
them
evocation.
glory. Yeah, I give them glory to try them on.
Really?
You wear clothes. You wear clothes. Not on.
I'm sure we can find a magical tailor that could have them at least made to your more exacting standard.
I'll be fair with this one, Glory, and say that these look frumpy as fuck. They will not be flattering.
So I think we can transfer whatever enchantment's on it onto whatever you're wearing now. At least you
That
could
be
actually.
something.
I mean,
That can be no project,
training.
but I was gonna see if you can try them on and see what benefit they give you.
By the way, Cora, with all this faffing, yes, you're having a short rest.
Fine. And she'll
Or
try the
pads.
boots on.
Yeah, you
Plus
probably had a short rest by
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
Aiden, we're making Glory go into ugly clothes.
He's asleep, all you can hear is
No,
snoring.
I just reply with, all right.
Come.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
We also got loot.
That's fine. Simon, I
Mhm.
imagine it just reminded me because I missed the session. It's also been a bit of a while. Everything we've done so far, from arriving at town, me getting dragged off by Hector, the whole thing with the tomb, that all has happened in the same day, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
No.
it's all
No,
happened.
we long rested.
No, we took a long rest before we went to this, so it's taken 2 days. Aiden went off with Hector, was gone the entire night, and then showed up while we were in the.
Oh, okay.
And during that time, you would have had a long rest as well. And I will
Okay.
send you. This was originally supposed to be because you were going to be gone for 3 weeks. I've now rewritten your encounter with Hector, and it's a shorter one. So I'll send that off to you today, and you can. And I'm going to say at the moment,
I mean,
Aiden is mulling over the events.
yeah,
Or we
yeah,
could-
that's what I was gonna say.
And so what we'll either do is either I'll do a 1-to-1 with you over the weekend, or I'll just send it to you so you can read it and know it.
Right. Okay, whatever works for you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, yep, you've got the frumpy robe of evocation. You've got a bunch of old clothes. You've got 3 bottles. And one has been taken by Glory, the second by Eclipse, the third is still in the box. You've got a miniature chest and a compass.
Right.
I'm gonna take the bottle and open it and sniff it. Make a
It's
Constitution saving throw.
it smells sweet. It smells lovely. It seems like some sort of honey wine.
Oh, it's just honey.
Honey wine.
Honey wine. I take this and I put it in my bag, and I do not. I didn't know of it.
Sure. Okay.
After being harassed by Eclipse, Glory will relent and try on the frumpy robe for just to see what it does before
Okay.
taking it off again. Like this. Ugh.
Sure. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Right. Thank you, Eclipse.
Damn it, I knew that was going to happen as well. I didn't want to metagame and be like, you're not going to be able to take that off.
23.
23.
Oh,
Good
fucking hell, that's a
constitution.
mad roll.
So, as this touches your skin, you feel as if thousands of little fish hooks latch into your skin.
No.
You take 6 points of magical piercing damage as this robe bites deep into your flesh.
Ow! Eclipse, this hurts! Ow!
It's now adhered to your
Take it off!
skin as well, and the second it starts hurting you, you pull, just on instinct, you just pull at it, and you take another 6 points of magical piercing damage as
Shit.
this is being pulled away from your skin. It does feel like thousands of little fish hooks are being ripped out of your skin.
Oh, that makes me so uncomfortable. Oh god.
The second you let go of it, the hooks appear to reattach the second you let go as well. This thing, it's currently itching, and it hurts. So you've had some damage from it, but you're kind of afraid to take it off.
Well,
I immediately turn around and when I hear a scream, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
Farewell, it's digging into my arms. It hurts. It hurts.
Dad!
I said this was a bad idea. It's ugly.
I'm coming in this screaming.
Sure.
I like that. I like that Glory thought that it. I love that Glory thought it was a bad idea just because it was ugly, not because it was a magical item found in a place where people were fucking self-punishing themselves.
I cast Dispel Magic again, but time I cast it at a 4th level.
Sure. Suddenly, Glory, all the little hooks seem to kind of relax and shrink away, and you kind of gingerly pull at it, and you realise you can take the robe off again.
I throw it at the other side of the room and throw acid at it.
Fair.
So now it has little hooks, and it's covered in acid. So this is really like top BDSM stuff right now. So
Ew.
yep, and you know farewell that as soon as your dispel magic dissipates, because on magical items it only works for a short period of time, you know that this stuff's coming back, and it will do the same effect for anyone who puts it on. And yep, this is a robe of punishment.
I go and pick it up.
Does Glory have marks
it
on the
into my
arms
bag.
from the hooks, or was that entirely psychological?
It seems to be a more a magical effect than it was anything else. So you check your arm, and it seems to have like a bit of a rash, but it doesn't have like kind of cuts. It certainly doesn't feel like what it did feel like, and that is lots of little hooks being put into your skin and then ripped out as quickly as possible. So yeah, it's nasty.
I'm very sorry,
This
Gloria. I
is
had no
why
idea that
we
was gonna happen.
don't put on bad, cheap fabric.
Yes, because that was clearly the problem.
The moral of the story by Glory Teska Kotal.
I'm really tired. What the... This is poor fellow, he's just spent like loads of really high level spells. He's just stood in the middle of the room going...
We aren't even fighting.
I take up the I take up the compass and have a look at that one. Using mage hand, so I don't touch it.
I literally start dousing
Oh.
the other clothes in more acid till they melt. I'm going to destroy these things if it's the last thing I do.
That's fine.
I think
Surely
Farrell
not
put
including
it
the
in his bag,
shoes,
didn't
not the
he?
fabulous
No.
shoes.
Yeah, I have the
Plus
robe in my
shoes.
bag. So I have the robe at least. I don't have the shoes.
Farewell,
Well, the
do
shoes
me
are not
a
evil.
dex saving throw.
Okay.
The robe attaches itself to you.
18.
18, sure. The robe itself doesn't activate until you put it on because it's a robe of punishment. But it was doused in Glory's acid, so you do manage to find a few spots that aren't covered in acid, shake a bit off, and put it neatly in your bag. Yeah, you've successfully put it in your bag.
It's in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Ah,
Eclipse,
there it
the
is.
compass doesn't have a compass rose on it, and which oddly fitting because we've changed our logo back to the compass rose, which was designed by the lovely Felicia. So if you have a look, I think it's going to be up
Hey.
there. And it has a compass rose that's just been pulled a few degrees off, and it's got the majority of this beautiful thorned vine going around the chaotic neutral arm, which is amazing. Thank you again, Felicia. It's amazing. I love it. We did have to take down some of the pictures of our mascot, Tarathok, who's the beholder, because you can't have a Wizards of the Coast symbol as your symbol, your logo. So he'll continue to be our mascot. We can fanboy all we like about him because he's awesome, but we now have our logo, which is our IP, and specifically Felicia's IP. So, yep, you pick up the compass, Eclipse, and it doesn't have a compass rose on it. It just has a strange needle that goes round and round and round. You mage hand it, and you can see it's just slowly spinning round. So it doesn't even point in a particular direction. It's just spinning round.
I grab it with
Maybe
my
it
real
doesn't
hand.
know what to point at yet.
Yeah, so I grab it with my real hand, and I focus on the heart Jordan.
It kind of spins around violently, and I think you think, well, okay, this might be something to do with it, but it's spinning round like really erratically, really badly.
Okay, then I changed my focus from the Heart Jordan to Glory. Does that change anything?
It suddenly goes from this very purposeful spinning round to inert again, and it just kind of wanders around like a needle that hasn't been magnetized.
Okay.
So the other things in there is a small chest, which is normally kind of like a money chest. To give you an idea, I've just realized it's a dice chest, but it's about that big.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take the chest out and check it for traps before I freaking open it. I already checked it for traps, didn't I? And there was
Sure,
a trap.
check for traps again. Why not?
That's
I'm gonna go and sit
12.
next to Bird.
Farewell. Give me the robe. It needs to die.
Eclipse, you see no sigils, you see no runes, you see no mechanical items, you see
I
no
open it.
fish gut or anything like that. It just appears to be a regular box.
I open it. What's inside it?
Okay, as your hand touches the lid, you have a strange
Melt.
sticky sensation. And you're there thinking, yeah, this is a bit nasty, it's a bit moldy. You saw that it was a bit wet. And then as you lift it up, you realise your fingers are stuck to the lid.
Oh yeah, you
tried
have
to.
furry fingers. That's a bad idea.
I tried to lift my hand off from the thing.
Give me an initiative check.
Oh, fuck.
Just you. Give me an initiative check.
Oh god, what
Okay,
happened?
that's very good. That's very good. 23.
Okay, 23. I will let you... this won't be an automatic thing then. It will be something that I have to roll against. What's your AC?
18.
18. Ooh, yes, I get it. 16 on the
Oh,
dice. Plus 3, that's a 19. So, as you're there and you're like, this is weird, what's going on?
I'm
And
coming down. I'm coming down.
as you're looking at it, the mimic spits out the little closure with the padlock on it, opens its needle-like teeth, and goes for a bite. And so it's already got your AC. I rolled a 1 on the D4, so that is 2 points of nibbling damage. You kind of go ow, and it's just kind of bit your finger, but it's like a cat biting your finger, and you realise this is a baby mimic.
It's a tiny mimic.
And this is how Eclipse
You
never
say
opened
that.
the chest ever
I
again.
turn around with the happiest expression on my face. Well, and the glory is like, it's a baby mimic.
The chest
You're raising a baby?
The chest
so
suddenly
cute.
transforms and it starts to twist and distort. 2 of the little wooden panels suddenly split, and 2 little pseudopods come out and start lashing ineffectually at Eclipse's hand. However, the bite, 15 plus, that hits as it goes in and does you another 4 points of nibble damage. You're stuck to this thing, and it's starting to bite your fingers bloody.
I need to get it off though. He's currently being a bit feisty.
Yes.
Do me,
We'll have to
Hold
raise
on.
him better.
do me
Hold
an
on,
escape
hold
grapple
on.
check.
I stand and look at it and I cast command. I'm just looking at like Eclipse. Like, are you just trying to burn all my, or what little energy I have left? Are you just? so
Farewell, what's the command? Because you kind of
unbelievable.
crapped out. What was the command?
The command is it's oh, I forgot.
Let
Oh
go.
yeah.
Don't bite.
Let go.
I said drop. Sorry.
Oh,
It's
drop.
my,
Okay,
if it's,
sure. So
if it's
you
my
use
internet. Sorry.
no problem. Use the command, and I believe it's got to do a wisdom save.
Yes, wisdom 17.
Yeah. It gets a total of 3, and it kind of goes meh, and then just with this bleating sound drops from Eclipse's hand onto the floor, and kind of looks around. So 2 parts of the lid open up as these 2 little red eyes. It kind of looks to the left, looks to the right, sees the pair of shoes, and with a sudden kind of strange swelling and swirling, it turns into a shoe.
Oh, what should we name him?
I'm not
Mighty.
keeping a mimic.
Jerome, I think. That fits.
No, don't
Jerome
name it. It
the
just
Mimic.
makes it harder when it has to die.
What are
We're
you
not.
talking about?
We can't keep
Raise
it.
him
It's a
to be a
mimic.
good boy.
We
Could-
can't.
Yeah.
Shaking her head
I
and
did-
wondering to look around the rest of the place better.
Sure.
I did.
Am I the only person here who thinks this is insane? We
I did.
can't keep a mimic.
I did.
Hayden, we
This is
found
the
a
point.
baby.
This is the point. I decided this is probably the best time to conk out.
Sure.
Cannot
Whether he's faking it or
pretend.
not, Aiden is completely out like a light. I'm going to switch to Cora because Kate hasn't had much screen time. So what's this
Yeah.
chaos is going
Yeah.
on in the custodian's room? And as Eclipse and Glory find the previous custodian's pet mimic, a bonsai mimic, if you will, Cora starts looking around the rest of the facility, which for the most part is this penance chamber. And I would like you to do me an investigation check, Cora.
I will roll that again because it's a 1 and I get to do that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Halfling for the win.
Woo.
Okay, investigation.
Come on, big roll, big roll.
It's not that big, it's only 13.
13. Okay. At 13, you manage to find a series of razor-bladed hooks, which is used for a form of suspension. So they go through the skin, and you can
Yep.
suspend yourself from the ceiling. There's eyelets in the ceiling near where they're stored, and you can see that's where they clearly suspended themselves on these hooks. When you look at the hooks, as much as they do give you the creeps, you realise that the way they've been tied together almost looks like a cat of 9 tails. If you got somebody to put these hooks together on separate wires maybe and put a handle on it, it could turn into an incredibly cruel, incredibly sharp weapon. They're still sharp even now, and as you're looking at these hooks, you realise they're probably made out of a rare kind of metal. So if they were to all be melted down, you probably could get maybe the head of a hand axe or the blade of a dagger. Couldn't go as far as short sword, but something that has got a small amount of metal in it, you could repurpose these things. You don't really have a proficiency in smith's tools, so I would say just do an intelligence check, a straight intelligence check, to see if you recognize the metal.
That will be a 5.
A 5? It's weird metal, Cora. It's really weird. You only barely discerned it from other metal. You thought it was just a bit rusty at first, but you had a close look because it kind of freaked you out. And yeah, that's what it is. You've got some weird metal hooks.
Okay.
And
Right.
you also find a box. The box is ornamental. It's locked. and it seems to just be left out in the open.
There's probably another mimic here. Or something. There's a pretty box in a place of torture. That can't be right. I'm gonna put it down here on the side. Anyone who wants to injure themselves. Eclipse, it's just here. and I wander out of this room and towards the more living quarters and see if I can
Raven
find
Queen,
anything
give me
else.
strength.
Okay, whilst you distract the people from the mimic to potentially a second mimic, I would like you to do another investigation check when you go into the living quarters.
Yeah. That one's a 14.
Sure. You take a look around the food quarters. There's nothing huge there. You do find a couple of bottles of serviceable wine that seem to be going into vintage just about now. They're not big names, but they seem to be usable still. And so, if you want, you can mark down that you have 3 bottles of red wine. There's into the living quarters. You do start looking at the figurines that I mentioned were there. And it seems to be a figure of, and I think I mentioned this last time, a figure of Pelor in each of them.
There was one in the cell, and while I was having my short rest, I was sort of just holding it and looking at it.
Sure.
The child.
You notice that in this area there's more of the same, and 2 of them seem quite different. One of them seems a little more ornamental, and another one just seems different to the others, whereas the others seem to be whittled out of wood and then painted. This one seems to be made of a form of plaster, maybe? Almost like a plaster of Paris. And if you want, you can have a look a little closer at those 2.
I'll look at that.
They're both mimics. No, I'm joking. So...
That would be great. Like,
Yeah,
a
but
mimic
we're
on each
bringing
hand,
the
nibbling
room
your
with
arms.
us, right?
mimics are everywhere.
Just the entire thing
we
is
need to get some kind of leash for him because we can't really touch him without like getting our fingers bitten off.
Maybe like a goldfish bowl on wheels that we
hold
can just
on.
pull with us.
I reach into my pack.
Or hamster ball. That would be great.
Oh,
My friend just got a hamster ball that attaches to a fake looking motorbike, so it looks like he's riding a motorbike.
Yes!
So what were we gonna say, Farewell? What was Farewell doing?
there is a rather large size. Easy if you just anyway. I take out my alms box that I have as
Yeah.
a priest.
Sure.
I open it up, and I'm going to try and coax the damn thing into.
Sure, give me an animal handling check.
He's good. Wisdom. It's good.
I was about to say I've got wisdom. It's all right.
He is the mimic whisperer.
I'm not, because that's a 1.
Okay.
You get bitten.
So, as you bring it close and you're trying to get this shoe to go in this alms box, the shoe opens its eyes, which are just up by the top by the cuff of the boot. The cuff of the boot kind of opens up into these 2 little red eyes. The shoe growls at you, and then there's this sudden kind of splatty hiccuping sound, and there's an alms box right in front of you, and it's like, well, I can't put the alms box inside an alms box, and it's basically just gone, no, I'm not going in there, I'll turn into the same thing.
Oh, precious little baby.
Back over to
hate it
Cora
already.
for a second. So are you going to check out the 2 different holy symbols?
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
Sure. One of them, the ornate one, seems to be, I mean, you've worked at some of your family worked in the mines. You recognize that some of the ornamentation on here isn't gold paint, it's actual gold. And it seems to have pearls and semi-precious gems inside. Could be worth something, or it could be something that would definitely empower a follower of Pelor. Okay. That's that
Yep.
first one. The second one, which is made out of plaster, let's have a wisdom check with proficiency for you. This is triggering your background
So I
as a
add
smuggler.
proficiency as well as wisdom.
Yeah.
So I would add +3 and another +3.
That's correct.
Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So +6 to you.
Okay. That is a non-natural 20.
Brilliant. You take a look at it, and immediately you are not convinced. You've seen this type of thing before. The outside shell of this, you look at the underside. You get, yep, definitely soft plaster. This is not really meant to last. It's not meant to last under scrutiny. And you take a look at the outside and you say, this is boot black. Boot black is a type of polish that if you put it over heat, it sets hard, and then you can paint it, and it makes a hard shell, but it breaks kind of like eggshell once you do break it. This is a shoddy piece and would break under the slightest touch. As you're looking at it, you're starting to go more gentle as you're touching it. You go, this is shit. Even the whittled wood icons.
I shake it slightly.
It seems to be. Ooh, give me a perception check.
I'm not rolling very well. Um,
I'm sorry.
11.
You hit the DC 10. This is you weighing up some plaster in your hand, not trying to spot a drow in the darkness. As you're there and you're hefting it in your hand, you realise, hang on, it's a bit too heavy for plaster. I won't give you more than that, but yeah.
I drop it by mistake.
Sure.
Like, I just put it on the side here.
Whoops.
As you drop it on the floor, it shatters, and inside the plaster figurine of Pelor is a smaller figure. The figure is and it's made out of bronze, except because it hasn't had time to oxidize because it's been covered by this stuff. The bronze figurine shines almost like a deep, dark, honeyed gold color. And it is a figurine of a beautiful looking figure. Seems to be male, long hair, beautiful features, although the beautiful features are contorted in a rictus of pain, and the mouth is open as if it's screaming. The arms are tied back behind its back and around its legs and around its body in crossing over chains that have barbs on them going into his skin. It's completely binding him so he's immovable. And if you were to stand this, because you could pick it up and stand it on a table, it would stand up and it would be this figure standing upright, bound by spiked chains, screaming, but otherwise quite a beautiful figure wearing quite rich-looking
I know
robes.
who that is.
Okay. I will pick this up and just I'm kind of like holding all of them in a way, and I'm like, because I want to show farewell and see if he knows. Do I know what this figure is? I suppose is the first question.
Do me a religion check.
Damn it, that dice right. It's 8.
An 8. You are pretty sure it's some sort of religious figure, but you just can't remember which one. And you're there thinking, I've only really listened to a few of the gods that I care about, and kind of wasn't really paying attention to all of the gods.
So I currently have a kind of jeweled kind of Pelor one, this bound brass smaller one, and a couple of wooden ones or something.
There's a collection of wooden ones as well, yeah. But they just seem to be your typical kind of thing that a monk would whittle out so that he has his own personal icon of his god.
I will put back one of the wooden ones where it was, and then just like keep one of each. So keep the bronze, a wooden one, and the jeweled one, and kind of like, just sort of, put them in my bag for now, and then keep wandering and probably work my way back to where everyone is.
Sure.
To see what mayhem is happening.
The only thing that you find in addition to this is the the room in which I think it was Iden and Eclipse killed the first ghast, and he was trashing the place, you notice that there's quite a few sets of tools there. You think that you could probably put together a carpenter's kit if you were so inclined, a gardener's kit if you were so inclined, or a very probably half a smith's kit, more kind of to bend things back into place, probably a kind of armor repair kit. If any of those interest you, add it to your inventory.
Okay. I think Cora might like, because she's got this bag of holding. She's like, so she'll, because she might be able to dish that out to people in Freetown who could find that useful. So
Yeah, that could be somebody's livelihood, certainly.
Exactly. So carpenter's kit, and the other one was a
carpenters, gardeners,
gardening.
and an armor repair kit. It's not a full smith's kit, but it's an armor repair kit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'll wander back and see if they've if they're looking at this maybe other mimic, and I'll point
Sure.
it out to them.
So back to Farewell, who's trying to coax the mimic into an alms box, and it's responded by turning into an alms box itself. What are you doing?
I'll look at it and go.
Wait. I
Yes?
want to try a thing. Glory takes off one of her shoes and places it in front of the mimic because he seemed to like shoe.
Oh wow. How would it respond to this? I guess I'm gonna roll.
There's a good chance it's going to eat your shoe.
It's fine,
Spoiler,
I have
dude.
more.
Okay.
More.
The mimic kind of opens its eyes, and then one of the bits where the upper of the boot meets the sole opens up, and a pseudopod kind of slithers its way out. It touches the other shoe, as if to go, "Is this another mimic?" And kind of pokes it a couple of times, pokes it another time. Then the pseudopod shoots back inside the shoe, and it closes its eyes again, and it just pretended to be a regular shoe.
Aww.
Okay, so the mimic is a shoe again now.
It's still a velvet slipper. It hasn't turned into Glory's shoe. It's just another velvet slipper.
No, because it changed into the box.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. In that case, sorry. The arms box, the side of it cracks. A pseudopod comes out. It pokes it a few times.
Yeah.
The pseudopod goes back inside, and it's an arms box again.
Okay.
That didn't work. Sad.
Do you really want a big pet?
Yes.
It's
Okay, sweetness. Maybe you like something else. What do I have? I have some jewelry. Maybe if we just swing a gem in front of it. Like, maybe it's like shiny things. I do.
Okay.
try. Yeah, sure.
So you're going to offer it a gem. What gem are you offering it?
The gang's spending 4 hours
Glory
convincing a
has
minute to
a
get into a
extra
bag.
piece of jewelry worth like 10
So we spent
gold
the
or
whole
something
session
because of
getting
her
some out of it,
background.
it's
So
fine.
I guess I don't know.
Okay.
Like
So
a
you
spare emerald necklace or something.
sure. You dangle the
Something
necklace in.
semi-precious.
You dangle the necklace in front of the mimic. The mimic suddenly opens its eyes again. It kind of almost gives it a sniff. It's just kind of lurching in the direction, so the box contorts slightly, and suddenly it transforms back into a money box. It opens up the lid. The lid is no longer a mouth, and inside you can see there's probably somewhere in the region of about 50 gold pieces in there, and it's opening its mouth to receive the necklace.
I will give him a tribute, as in the necklace.
Sure. You put the necklace in, and it closes its mouth. It opens its eyes, stares at you for a second, and then closes its eyes again.
I will reach out and pet it.
Just tamed it.
It doesn't stick.
I will pick him up
You pick
and
him up.
say, "We are bringing him with us. His name is Jerome."
Okay.
Harold just drops his arms box on the floor and just walks away in a huff.
The rest of the campaign is Jerome's adventures.
Yeah.
Just like first the fucking mouse, now it's a fucking baby minute. This is just too much. I don't get paid enough.
We don't get paid at all. not from us anyway. I will poke Aiden and tell him the good news that we got a baby mimic.
I think I'm still asleep. Yeah, I didn't.
Ivan's just going to multi-class so he can cast sleep on himself, you know?
Yeah.
No, but like I poke him and I go Aiden.
I've come to the grim realization that if Eclipse was real, I would stay the hell away from her. I would be so far away from her.
Yeah. Was there a book you wanted me to look at?
Oh yeah, the book.
Alright, here, have this book. I
take the book and I'm going to find anywhere that's not here. Just anywhere that's not here right now.
Sure.
Please, for the love of all that is holy, just let me fucking sleep.
I just. It's very important that you know.
Jerome.
Very important that you know. You have a baby mimic now. You can go back to sleep.
Why did I accept this job?
Just hear from
Because
some
you love
corner.
us.
I ask myself that every day.
I'm enjoying myself.
Okay. I will now stop being silly, and Eclipse is gonna go off, and she's gonna have some fun ritual casting and summon her familiar
Sure.
for an hour.
Oh dear.
Right. So
What's in the
farewell.
book?
You have a book. I would like you to do
Right, how
a
long it
history
is?
check, please.
He's hoping I don't roll a fucking natural one this time. Oh no, that's much better. History. Where's history? That's 19.
19. Yeah, sure. So you start to go through the book, and you realize, yeah, this is a really old dialect. It has elements of Vardencore. It's got elements of various primal wild languages. And they're just like kind of cultural words. So you don't really speak it that much, although you do speak primordial. So you manage to muddle your way through a lot of that stuff, and you realize, yeah, you can read it. It's it kind of, the way you're reading it is kind of as if it was broken English, but you can certainly get the gist of it. And it is a twin ledger. So the ledger at the back is financials, so being able to buy food and things like that. The monks of the order would go to the roadside where you originally started before you detoured to the Fenlands. They would wait for a particular delivery driver, a particular merchant to come across. They would buy what goods they needed. They'd walk back into the Fenlands, and they would continue their solitude here underneath the cut. It refers to the cut quite a lot, and that's the gaps between this very strange soil that's held together by long dead moss and fern, giving it a strange spongy structure. Then the other ledger that's in the same book, it's just kind of split in half, so they're using one part for one and one part for another. It's kind of a log of this place. It points out people, a time, and you notice that there are quite a lot of timepieces around here, hourglasses and things. The time seems to relate to the amount of time that they spent taking penance, being tortured willingly. And the top of each page says an accurate description of the day's penance taken on behalf of the penitent. He who shall be taking the duty and the honour to purge corruption from the heart of Duradan.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is such a terrible way to do this. Honestly. So awful. I will put the book back. I'll close the book and I'll put it back.
Before you do that, can I get you to do an investigation check?
Sure. I assume, like, I would have spent the time reading for it.
Yeah, this is you flicking. Yeah.
Not amazing. 11.
Okay, 11. The only thing I can tell you on an 11 is that in between some of the pages that are meticulously filled out and used, pretty much the entire page is used, every now and again there's a page that's blank. Just completely blank.
That is for another time. I am so tired. Now we have a baby. Oh, Christ alive. I am going to return, but I'm going to start taking out like my bedroll stuff, and I'm going to make somewhere comfortable because I assume it's getting on in the day, and it's been a very long day.
You've fought. Okay, granted, not taken a huge amount of damage, but you're feeling exhausted with the effort. And if you wanted to take a short or long rest here, you absolutely can.
Hey, Eclipse, there's another box thing. How's the pet? There's this one. I don't want to touch it.
You didn't touch. Okay, I'll come look. Get up.
No. I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm sure Eclipse wants to look at it. It's a box that's closed.
Yes. In a very cat fashion, she wants to know what's on the inside, and when she knows what's on the inside, she's not as interested anymore.
Yes.
Yep, yeah. Absolutely.
Out or in, neither.
So
I found some stuff, but let's sleep and talk about it tomorrow.
So just from a distance, with Cora pointing out farewell, you can see that the box has primordial down the side. It looks like a kind of scrawling to most people, almost like a bit of filigree on the side, and it says the Tears of Duty.
I don't think it's
depressing.
Oh yeah, important detail, Simon, that I forgot to ask, but it was something I was asked like first thing in the session. Have my eyes gone normal?
Yes, your eyes went normal.
Okay.
The second that you realised there were no more undead in the area. They turned back to regular.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
They are not regular corpses.
So.
Do you like my spellcasting gestures? I am.
Yes.
So you're taking a long rest, during which time Eclipse gets her first familiar. What shape does it take?
I'm not gonna take the rest yet because the box has been pointing out. But finish the Eclipse.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you guys are chilling out anyway. So my familiar it's an owl, and it's a long-eared owl. So it's
it's an owl.
It's an owl with like some gloves, and it sits there, and I just tell it Athena, and I pet it.
There's this soft.
It would be
as you say Athena, as if it understands that you've given it its name, and at that point it just kind of looks around and sees that there's nothing in particular that's needed of it right now. And it just closes its eyes and kind of ruffles its feathers to keep itself warm in this kind of damp water.
I think I'll make it celestial.
Okay, celestial owl.
Probably doesn't have too much importance, but because
it might be.
Sure,
it might be. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Nick, did you say you're going to look at the Tears of Duty?
Yeah, I'm. It's like I'm. if I don't open that box, she's going to open the box. And considering the last time she opened the box, she almost died, and we ended up adopting something, it's probably better if you do it.
The last box resulted in a near death and an adoption. This time I'm doing
So
it.
you do it. It's like, that's encouraging.
So
I
farewell.
didn't say it was a good idea. I just said that it was something we should probably do.
You approach the box, farewell. What are you doing?
Wait. If somebody's going to die, then it's probably best if it's me, because you can do something about that. So I go to the box and open it.
Sure.
That's a fair point.
Okay, so Cora, you go and touch the box.
Yeah.
I would like.
No
never
checking
mind.
for traps, just
Nope.
boom.
Yep, you go to the box. The box just seems like a mundane box. It's got one of those weird sliding doors that posh wine boxes have, and you start to pull that out. No, nothing triggers, no traps. It's not locked. Inside is a beautiful ornamental ornamental bottle that contains a clear liquid.
Huh. It could just be drinks. What does it say on the side here?
The tears
You know?
of duty.
Tears of duty? Okay.
They're the you know when you go to a party and there's those kind of people, there's the ones like me that don't know really what the right thing is to say and they sort of just hide in the corners, and then there's those that are like you that talk to everybody and everybody seems to know, and then there's always that one weird guy that you don't know why they get invited, but they always get invited, and they talk about the creepy weird. Okay, not like I do, but like, you know, the really weird stuff.
The
but
weirder
this-
than you.
Yeah, but this stuff is more like self-flagellation and believing that through pain that brings purity, and that by suffering that you will somehow relieve another's suffering. That's these people. So everything in here is designed to hurt. Or
Would they
be
do this to
you.
themselves, though?
Willingly, yes. And tears of duty could literally be a bottle of their own tears, and
Okay.
that wouldn't be the weirdest thing that we would find. It could also be magical. I mean,
Glory knows that, right? Glory!
Hmm?
There's a bottle of tears here. Maybe
Tears?
that's what
we're
it
not
says.
sure. Yeah, we're not sure if it's literal tears or metaphorical tears. It's just a bottle of liquid.
I can check if it's magic, but other
If you'd
than
be
that,
so kind.
alrighty. Yeah. Takes a look.
Also, sorry to say this, but is it okay if we take our 10-minute break now?
Yep, we'll take that
Oh,
just
yes.
now. So I'll end the break
I was
with
gonna say we
Glory.
might as well.
Glory
Take the
places
long-
her opal over her eye, and as she does so, she can see something peculiar because the box itself seems to block the signal of what's inside. So the lid is half off at the moment, so Cora's just opened it just enough to see it. The bottle seems to have at the enchantment school, but where the lid is, it completely blocks the magical signature of the rest of the bottle. And that's where we'll leave it, and we will have our 10-minute break, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
See you soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I can see it's currently tied between Glory, Eclipse, and Cora. Let's bring the players back on.
Fight!
Yep. Some sort of weird fight. Yep, cool.
Mortal
What is that
Kombat!
Seriously, that theme song was the best part about that movie.
Oh, that's the best, worst movie ever!
It is!
Yeah.
Oh, we
Which
have
movie
a
you talking
tip
about?
over for Eclipse from somewhere. Unless
Your
that was
soul is
Corinne going
mine.
in and voting for herself on her phone.
She would never do it.
Well, no, I haven't voted at all. So that wasn't me. I just voted for Glory. I just voted for
It was
Glory.
Felicia's dad voting for the wrong person.
That would make sense.
Well, I'm going to leave it for a while, and what I'll say is whenever the first opportunity to come up with a finesse point presents itself, I will give it either to Eclipse or Glory. So,
Nice.
Cora, you're packing away various toolkits and things that you know that when you get back to the city, these could potentially save or change someone's life in Freetown. Somebody probably turn their nose up to it and say the artisans district, but this could really give somebody a livelihood. Maybe even somebody on the road if you meet them. You also see as Farewell starts packing the tiers into his bag of holding, along with the case that they're in. And I'm going to give you a freebie here. You believe that the case that they're in has something akin to Nystel's magic aura. Nystel's magic aura can make magical things seem mundane, mundane things seem magical. Ironically, this is one of the few magical items you can't detect with detect magic, because its very nature is its enchantment makes it look mundane and anything in it. Okay. So a useful little box. It, as I say, looks like an artisanal wine case, and it has a form of non-detection, and you could probably get a full-size bottle of single malt whiskey in there, or a big bottle of wine, decent bottle of wine. Okay, probably not a magnum of champagne, but you could get a full-size bottle of wine in there.
Well, one may have to slum it and just go for a little something a bit mundane, but you know.
Right.
Are we just gonna sleep here?
It's
very
fairly
much
secure.
like
There's a
to
nice
sleep.
big heavy door on this penance chamber.
I suggest that even though we're probably going to be alright, we do take watches. Just in case.
That makes sense.
We want to stay in this particular room or go to one?
Well,
like...
there was one that had, like, bedding before.
Yeah, there's one down here that's all this.
Simon, does familiars need to sleep?
No.
Athena's gonna be able to keep watch all night, and if anything happens, she can wake us up.
I would still prefer a little more eyes. Not that I don't trust your newly acquired familiar, it's just
Iden,
good habit
you're
to be
feeling
in.
quite restless, so maybe you'd like to take the first watch.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it.
Okay, cool. I'll take second.
Sure.
I'm happy to take one.
Okay. So-
I'll take a watch if it's needed.
Okay.
So, are we moving to this less torturous room, or?
Let's go to the place of less pain. Yay!
Yay!
Oh,
I will have
take those
spent-
little hooks just in case as well.
Okay.
Actually, I'll write that in.
I have spent the time required to remove the zombie corpse from the room.
Sure.
It like disintegrated in acid, didn't it? So I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
the
not better.
acid, in all fairness, smells better than the ghast, because ghasts smell, well, frankly, ghastly. And
we're all
they,
immune, I
But
think,
don't-
actually.
they actually have an
We're all
ability that
immune.
makes you feel sick when you get too close to them. So, yeah, the acid actually kind of sterilized the place a bit. You're kind of grateful for acid for a change.
It smells like chlorine.
Yeah, there's kind of
Yeah.
slightly bitter taste to it, to the air, but considering what it could smell like, that's probably preferable.
I practically cleaned off the floors. Look better than they've done in centuries.
Yeah, that's probably true. So you start to bed down for the night. You've got the various items, and Cora, don't forget you've got that. That's a good point. Where are you keeping that strange figurine?
Oh yeah, you never showed us that.
I haven't. I stuck them. I think in the bag of holding, because I don't don't have enough pockets. How big is it? How big is it?
Well, considering the previous the statue of Pelor was only about that big. It was an icon rather than a full on shrine.
Yeah.
And then when you broke it,
So
it was
it's-
actually quite a bit smaller. So I'd say it probably is about the size of what's the word, a Nasuke. So it's a very small figurine, no bigger than about the size of your cup,
Yeah, that goes down there. No problem.
and about as wide as I'd say a banana, because it's just a figurine standing up.
Mm.
We can't hear you, Cora.
Kate.
Sorry. But I had like the three of them, so I probably put them in the bag of holding. I think I said that earlier in the stream. I
Sure,
put them
no
in the
problem.
bag of
So,
holding.
yep, God battle in your bag of holding. Got it. Right. So, no snipe,
Yeah.
not pop figure size. There are no pop figures in this world, and if they were, the gods would immediately destroy them all. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Smiting everywhere.
yeah, big smite.
Mm.
We're not allowed
Anyway,
existence of pop
sleep.
figures.
So you all go and rest. Not necessarily sleep, because sleep down here is probably very difficult. But you just kind of have a moment of silence, and Aiden, you start to go on a bit of a patrol. You're a bit restless, and you start taking in the fight that was here, the fact that this weapon that you managed to commission from Bloodwind Bloodaxe really did a number on some of these things. And you can see there's the body of the Deathlock, there's the body of the Ghasts, bodies of the Ghasts, and the bodies of these strange otherworldly creature, these Bodaks, with these large, strange, sagging flesh for mouths, no teeth, just this kind of open, toothless maw. These folds in the skin that seems to go into nothingness for eyes. That death glare, you passed your lore check, so you know that they have this strange death glare. They look at you, and you can just drop to 0 hit points.
I kind of turn one and turn it over so like it's facing into the floor and no one has to see its fucking face.
Yep.
Even though
Because
it's
it-
dead.
Even though it's dead, but it's like, dear God, like, not even I can get used to that.
So you're close to a Bodak, so let's start there. You look at the flesh in particular. Most undead are made from other things. These ghasts in particular are a form of necromantically mutated dead bodies. The Deathlock itself, again, a former living being that got twisted and emaciated into this foul, dark, magic infused caster with some sort of strange sentience, this sneering, spiteful, power grabbing character. Very different to the ghasts, which have this feral nature to them, and normally require direct control from a master to stop them from running amok. The Bodaks, in comparison to that, have a character all of their own. They can operate independently. They can communicate if they need to, but they very rarely communicate unless it's absolutely necessary, like giving very broken worded orders. Mostly they'll transmit ideas if they can, telepathically if they get a chance to, which they can do to other undead. and you can see the flesh. This strange grey, almost like elephantine flesh. And as you kind of turn it over, you realise that there's a kind of a resemblance of a skeleton inside. But the flesh itself is very dense, very dry. It has, instead of the foul smell of the ghast, it has a kind of long dead, almost kind of crypt smell or carnal house smell, or maybe kind of a maybe compost type of smell to it. And it seems to be a complete creature. And you know that this is, if it's made from a living being, it's heavily, heavily mutated. But this type of flesh suddenly triggers a piece of Kenelm lore. This flesh is called grim flesh, and ordinarily it's made by pits, so mass graves. And as the flesh starts to decompose together, it kind of forms a bit of a slurry, and a necromancer can effectively flesh sculpt this clay into this grim flesh. And it's a lot stronger than your average undead. So compared to a zombie where you can lop bits off left, right, and center in a battle, this is very resilient. And you know that it has a skeleton inside it, but doesn't exactly require it. You can break bones, you can shatter the skull, and it will just keep going and going and going until you've done enough damage to it. Typically, magical damage is better to disrupt the magic that created it. As for the beings inside, it's said that on the other side of the mortal gate, or with it between the living world and the mortal gate, there's the Greylands, the ethereal plane, where undead spirits reside. Some of them are waiting for closure, where they will willingly pass after that through the mortal gate. Some are lost, some are tortured, some are manipulated by necromancers and formed into servants. Then there are some souls that for some reason find themselves stuck there willingly for so long that the whatever's left of the soul turns into this strange, twisted and yet knowledgeable type of dark soul. And this is the type of thing they're highly prized by necromancers, and that's what powers a Bodak. It is said, although mostly only theorized, that when this soul is stuck in this limbo, this world between worlds, between the living and the dead, that it can hear the whispers of foul and ancient creatures, ancient ones who are calling out from the abyss itself, and they call out forbidden knowledges. And after so long of listening to these forbidden knowledges, the Bodak is twisted in its mind, fiercely intelligent, capable of casting without really having to try. The abilities that it has, the ability to just pull life from a living being into itself and into the void, it just seems to be an innate ability. It's no longer even casting. This is what a Bodak is. It's what's known as the greater undead. And it's twisted and rare. It's like finding a gold nugget, but instead of gold, this is a nugget of pure evil. And they had 4 of them here. A necromancer would have prized these things, and 4 of them were here trying to take down the guardian, the penitent of this temple. As you take a look at them, you realize that one of the best things to do is, now that they are completely destroyed, the eyes no longer have any danger. So you flip it back over, and if you wish, you can try and harvest a Bodak's eye.
I'll do that.
Grim.
I'll do that, and also, by the way, were these Bodaks wearing like clothes or semblance of clothes, like any tattered like pieces of cloth or something like that?
Tattered, faded, purple robes.
Right. Do they look familiar? Maybe do they look like any form of attire?
The purple robe is normally the type of cowl that they have. Like it's normally like overclothes. So you'd normally wear this type of purple robe over your own clothes as a status symbol. Normally that you're an advisor to a king or queen. Or emperor or whatever. And they wear it possibly because the master believes themselves so high and mighty that these prized greater undead should wear something to show their status in his organization, and also by reflected glory and ego, his importance.
Right. Okay. There goes that thought process. I get like at least one of the eyes out of this guy, and
Give
then I
me
burn him.
a survival check or a dex check with proficiency. In fact, roll both.
Okay, so a survival and a dex check with proficiency. All
Yeah.
right, so I'm gonna do the survival first. That is gonna be 20 total, not a natural one.
Nice.
And dex would be. That's gonna be 24 for dex.
Sure. So you pull out a selection of Bodak eyes, and you realise that as you're looking at them, they're not, in fact, little pools of infinity, but they are interesting in their look. They seem to be hard, but still in a strange way organic. And you pull out a bunch of them, and not only do you get one, you get several of them, and then you pick the best one out of the lot, the one that seems to have taken the least damage during the process. And you have effectively a fine Bodak's eye.
Okay.
There's, you think, something that you'll be able to do with Canelm magic, specifically Blood Hunter magic, with this eye. Now, you're pleased to know this is not an alchemy check to get something that you'll drink, because drinking this would be absolutely rank.
No, thank you.
You believe that you might be able to fashion out of this Bodak's eye a talisman.
All right.
You believe that you might be able to fashion a thing called an Eye of Fear.
All right. Okay. I'll hang on to that because I don't think I can start working on that right now, but I'll...
No, it's kind of a downtimey thing. You probably need a couple of days to do it. But you know, this thing's dead. It's already as far rotted as it's going to be. In fact, these bodies are going to stick around for a while. Best thing to do is probably burn them or get Glory to throw a bit of acid on them to get the process going along.
Yeah, I like after I done with the whole eye thing, God damn it. I just saw the chat, I'm sorry. God fucking damn it. After I'm done with the eye, I'm just I'm grabbing a bunch of these, putting them into a pile, and then do you think I'll be able to just ignite them with my gun?
Yeah, I'd say with I mean, you're guaranteed to hit, right? So you're going to get your hit point back, and you're just there, just igniting them with the blood fire that comes out of your gun, and it's made for undead as well. So yeah, you set this Grimflesh in particular. It burns really well under your gun, which is ironic because you fire at wood and fuck all happens, but you fire at this you fire at this this undead flesh, this Grimflesh, and it goes up. It goes up like a good. And it's actually quite nice. It's quite warm actually, and as I say, it smells like a peat fire. So if you ever go to Ireland, you might be able to smell a peat fire. They're lovely, and it's kind of like that. If you want to take a look at the Ghasts or the Deathlock, you can do that as well.
I want to take a look at the Deathlock because this is like the second time we've dealt. Aiden has dealt with one, so I am genuinely really curious what's going on there.
Sure. Now, there's some new lore that I've given you, and I've said we're going to be doing a bit of a one-to-one to catch up on some stuff that you missed, and especially to do with Hector. So I'm going to kind of ad-lib and riff with you for a second. You walk up to the Deathlock, and you start to inspect it. You realise that this is a Deathlock of the First Order, so it hasn't really evolved. It hasn't really progressed itself. You know that a lot of Deathlocks are trying to turn themselves into liches, and they do that by gaining arcane power. They start gaining powerful reagents, powerful familiars. They try to gain homunculi, They try to get allies who can give them extra power. They can learn spells like wizards in some cases. So as they get to the next tier, as they start to grow in their arcane power, they can learn spells just like wizards can, but they end up kind of perverting it and twisting it and casting using a different way. So instead of ripping magic from the maelstrom, which is the source of all magic in Aleria, this giant swirling storm that's kind of in meta existence with the physical world, the Deathlock pulls it from somewhere else and makes like a kind of dark version of each spell. So they can get very powerful very quickly. And sometimes lesser Deathlocks work for greater Deathlocks. So as you're there assessing it, it comes to mind where you're like, what if the master's just like a really powerful Deathlock? You know, that's maybe trying to become a lich or something like that. And the thought just flickers in your head for a second as that this is one of many possibilities that could be. You look through this Deathlock. Yeah, seems to be a fairly standard minion Deathlock. And you can see that some of the things have been looted from there, as Nick did, as Farewell. And the only thing that you can see here is that you know that the bone from a Deathlock's forearm can be turned into quite a useful wand, a bone wand specifically. It can be used as an arcane focus by most people, and it can be used to give extra advantage, not advantage as in rolling advantage, but it can be used to empower necromantic spells in particular. However, it can't be removed from an active Deathlock. You have to destroy the Deathlock in order to do it. It's not like you can just have a Deathlock just donate its forearm. It destroys.
Right.
You can harvest it once the Deathlock is deactivated.
Okay, so with that knowledge, this is gonna be kind of morbid, but I'm gonna break both its arms.
Sure.
To prevent those bones in particular to be turned into one.
Sure. So you break both forearms, so the opportunity to make a bone wand is gone. As a result, you've stopped what you consider to be a necromantic practice. At this point, I'd like you to do me either an Arcana or a Religion check, please. And this is you testing your Canelm knowledge and digging through the memories in the back of your head.
So there's my what's it called? Hunter's Bane.
Yep,
work into
that
this.
certainly
Okay.
works. Yeah.
All right, both religion and arcana are the same, so it's not really what doesn't matter what they pick. That's gonna be 22.
Okay, so for a 22, you have also managed to figure out that there's something that a blood hunter can do with the Deathlock as well. So a blood hunter can take the skull of a Deathlock and remove the lower jaw and just take the upper part of the skull. You can clear it of all the undead flesh, so rip out the eyes, take off the skin, and boil it in vinegar.
Jesus.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going very kind of Coco with this.
Deep fry that Deathlock.
Yeah. So you boil the skull in vinegar, which completely cleans it. And it just turns into it almost looks like it's a fake skull after that. It's quite light. And if you place a pair of rubies in the eye sockets, you can use this as a curse finder. And the way that it works is that if anybody is cursed, you can pull out this this skull, and the rubies have to be at least 50 gold pieces each. You put that into the sockets, and you can press the skull up against your own face, look into the eyes of the Deathlock skull through the rubies, and you can spot, first of all, you can spot anybody who's cursed, and you can see an aura around them, so you automatically detect curse, and you can use it to... There's kind of like a ribbon of energy. If you focus hard enough, you can see this very thin ribbon of energy coming off the cursed person, heading in the direction of the person who cursed them.
That sounds really fucking useful. So I didn't get this expression of like, oh god, I really don't want to do this. It's like, you know, that face you do when you're like you're gonna do something, but you'd rather be as far away as possible. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna behead the death.
Yeah, sure. You're just there, like, kind of looking away and hewing away at this thing.
I wanna do this.
Okay, please note in your inventory that you have the top half of a deathlock skull.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
And nobody's around to see this, but you dip into your pack, you pull out a book, you flick through to the appropriate page, kind of give yourself a nod of, yep, that's the ritual, and you close the book and put it back into your pack.
Cool. So, yeah, after that, I'm gonna be like, that was disgusting. I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna go wake Farewell up, and I'm gonna punk out.
Sure.
Peace out.
The only other stuff that you can see are the ghasts, and you're there saying, yeah, some people can harvest the ichor from them to make a kind of... It's kind of a really awful smell that makes people wretched, like surstrumming. And
super stink bomb.
yeah, and you're just like, yeah, we don't need this
Excuse me,
shit.
that's a Swedish delicacy.
It's a Swedish delicacy that makes people gag whenever you open the tin. And,
Yeah.
You're supposed to open the tin outside. It's very
yes, but you
important.
still have to be near it to open the damn thing.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as Nanto?
Well,
Worse.
It's worse.
Natto isn't that bad. Natto is...
It's worse.
It's
Give me a
worse.
Okay.
moment, I'll send you a few videos.
By the way, for those who don't know, Nanto is a Japanese dish that is literally fermented beans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very,
worse.
very popular. It's very popular in Japan. I live in Japan, and everybody's fucking crazy for natto. It's okay. I don't like it, but it's
I've seen a video of someone eat like a foreigner eating it, and they were like they regretted their entire life.
I mean, it's honestly not that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
you
it's
decide not
the
to
beans
get the
it's
nauseating gas bomb, and you go
No.
up and kind of nudge the next person who is who's ready to do their break. So who
My turn
is
is-
next?
Farewells.
Farewell. You get up and you watch as Iden goes back to sleep. You start to take a look around and you realise that the duty of those who do things under the gods are variable. And for some of them, the duty, as you had on your caravan, going around, checking those who are soon to die, and giving palliative care, those who have already died, making sure that their bodies lie in eternal slumber, and all the various care work that you do, based around being based around the goddess of death. Well, specifically the goddess who works after the point of death. These guys here, yeah, the stuff they did were weird, but they were devoted. You know, they believed that they were doing the right thing, and you could see that each one of them, before they went to bed, they sat down and they took a look at Pelor. Pelor, the sun god. Pelor, the child of Or, specifically the aspect of the child of Or. Before going to bed, they were probably in pain, possibly weeping, as they know they'd done their duty and they'd done it bravely, but they're still obviously hurting. They would pick up this figurine of this young boy looking up at the sun. Well, young child, actually. It's actually a kind of genderless child. Kind of medium long hair, looking up into the sun, which it's holding above its head, their head. And they would look at this joy and this awe and this release and this innocence. And the second they look at this symbol, they'd realize that that's what they're trying to do, because they're trying to purify whatever the heart of Juradan is, and trying to also release, in this case, the penitent. They're trying to allow that innocence, that freedom, that grace to exist for the penitent. And you can tell that this is what they'd be looking at before they go to sleep, resolute that they're going to continue with the duty the next day in the hope that the penitent may one day know the peace and grace that they will know upon death. And instead of living in poverty and having to live in the perpetual misery, maybe turning to crime, maybe hating other people who would be better off than them, they have purpose. Instead of being an adventurer dishing out death and risking their own, they're here in controlled conditions, doing something which is, for the most part, a thankless task, but knowing full well that they every day can fulfill their duty under the gods. And you get a moment of humbled introspection, knowing full well that you can find duty, honour, commitment in a number of different forms, not just the ones that you understand.
Still stupid though, eh?
Oh yeah, by the way, are the Bodaks like bodies still burning when Farewell's like on guard?
Yeah,
Well,
Farewell goes into the sarcophagus room. There's this pile of Bodak bodies that are burning with this bright red flame, this kind of deep blood red flame. And they're kind of turning into ash now, they're kind of burning down, but it's taken them a couple of hours to do it.
Beat me to it. I actually would like to go and wake Cora if I can.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to have a very gently will nudge her awake. Yeah. Sorry.
Huh?
Can I need to ask you something, but come with me. I'll just go out into like another one of the rooms.
What?
You take me
Merrick.
to all the nicest places.
Yes! Am I the best friend ever? You know?
Yeah.
Dungeon crawling, warehouses full of killer bandits, underground fish people, crazy tentacles that come out of wells.
This place stinks.
Yeah, this place is terrible.
What's wrong? Is it my time to watch?
No, sorry. I didn't mean to. Well, I did mean to wake you, but that's the wrong term of phrase.
What is it?
Do you remember when we were talking to Eclipse about Merrick and our promise and all of that?
Yeah.
It doesn't sit right that we haven't told anybody about at least what the Duke is doing and how much we know. And I need guidance, and I kind of want to talk to Dusk about it, but I'm
Good. For a
worried.
moment, I thought you were gonna ask me, and I don't know.
No. I don't think you can do that. You can do you've learned to do a lot of crazy things, so maybe you will. No, but you're one of the very few friends that I have. I've never had a situation where by doing the right thing I might upset my friend, and I don't know if telling her is the right thing to do, and that it'll come out. When Eclipse finds out, she'll be upset with me. And I don't know if it's the right kind of upset or the wrong kind of upset.
Yeah. Well,
Speak to Eclipse about it.
to be honest, you can never do something that works for everybody. I mean, we still don't really know what Miss Green wants completely, or her involvement in any of this. I mean, she seems to date the Duke's son, but or want to. I don't know. But
Yeah, I thought that was my mother's son.
oh, okay, maybe I was reading something else into that.
She seemed rather
Anyway.
protective of him.
Yeah, she.
I mean, I'm not one to talk. I mean, really.
Well, I mean, I know what you mean. I think this is kind of strange. We came out for one thing and it turned into a different thing, and now we're here. We didn't tell anyone we were gonna do this,
Yeah.
but especially, I mean, what is our plan next? Are we going back to the city, or are we going on to where we potentially lost our memories? Because if we're definitely going there, I think we need to at least tell someone. You know, when I go to a party, I tell you where I'm going so that you know what time I'm meant to be home and things, even though I never come back at the time I say and stuff. It's just that sort of thing. I feel like we should tell somebody, because if
You also don't
memories
go
again,
to the place that you tell me that you're going to, because then when I show
do,
up,
and
to try
then we
find
move on, and I forget because I've drunk stuff, and anyway, the intention is there. So my point is, don't be me, and maybe we should tell somebody. Like I was trying to say to Eclipse, I think maybe we could say something, not tell the entire truth, but say something so that she's got some sort of idea of what's going on, because I mean, to be honest, we haven't even checked in with her. How many days has it been now? I'm surprised she's not messaging us and saying, "What the hell are you?"
She's a divination wizard. If she's not watching us, I'd be really surprised.
That's true, and therefore, if she's seen everything that's going on and seen that we're not talking to her, that could be bad.
Yeah. I'm not very good at lying. I'm really bad at lying.
Yeah, that's true. Don't lie, because no, everyone can see right through it. You do it really badly, and even I think on a telepathic thing, I think it will be obvious. Don't lie. You just don't tell everything. You just pick certain truths and you say them. I don't do this to you, obviously, ever. No, just saying.
I'm starting to think that Cora might not be that great of an influence.
And yet she has like 20 charisma now, but this is Kate.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say it?
No, the spell doesn't quite work that way.
Oh, we can't use these?
I don't think it goes that far. At least, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't go that far.
Should we try?
Of course we can try. I mean, you can give it a go.
Who should I message? Should I just wake someone? It's really late. What time?
I have no idea. We're in a cave.
That is true.
By your reckoning, it's about 8 p.m.
Oh, really? Okay. It doesn't feel that late actually at all.
Yeah. Some of us had to use a lot of magic today because we decided to adopt a fucking baby mimic.
Yeah. Why did you keep using magic on it? Just tie its mouth shut. No? I don't know. I've never had a mimic.
With Eclipse's fingers in it?
Oh. Yeah. That's a cat for you. Want to touch everything. And then push it off a shelf.
It's just, honestly, she will be the death of me. We're getting off track.
Yeah. So, messaging Miss Green or Olivia? Or both?
Go
and
for
what
the
are you going to
head.
say? What are you planning to say?
Why am I talking to her? Why don't you talk to her?
I literally just asked if you want me to do it, and you said no.
Oh, no, I was talking about my spell, not your spell.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm half asleep. You want me to message one of them to test this symbol?
Yes, because I don't want to necessarily lie if I can get away.
Sure. What am I saying though? Because if I just message, I could just tell them we found this tomb. Is that a private thing? That's not. God, I get very confused
come
about
on,
what we're doing and why. I should pay
Yes,
attention more,
why?
but I just
I
get
mean-
distracted.
I mean, it's Eclipse. I don't think there's a person in Ostergold she's not asked about Duridan's heart.
Sure.
That's all.
Everybody knows.
I think
I'm
everybody.
gonna message Olivia. She's a little less scary than Miss Green.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Me and Aiden had a
Did you
pretty
suddenly hear that, like,
intense night.
echo?
It was a pretty intense night, and Olivia seemed pretty vulnerable. Like, she's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
She's so scared because she's more vulnerable.
You and I have very different definitions of vulnerable.
Just a reminder, one of the first things we saw Olivia do is behead someone while being on horseback.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we saw her. We found out the more backstory, and that's changed Cora's opinion. We haven't seen Miss Green do anything, but she's the boss. She's more powerful in some way. She's scarier.
That is true.
I trust you implicitly, and
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna see if it works, and then just tell her that we're in some weird dungeon thing, but we're fine, and we're heading back soon. Let's just see if it works.
I think we're waiting for the carriage to come tomorrow, and then we're going on to the place where we lost our memories. Just-
Okay.
Weren't we going to the place and then meeting the carriage there?
You're asleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't matter if we get it wrong.
No, I literally got
We'll figure
confused.
it out in the morning, but I know where we are right now, and I can say that. See, don't lie. You just say what you know. Hello, Olivia? I'm obviously kind of
Feeling,
telepathically doing this. But I'm
very
pressing a
well.
button because that's how it works.
The number you have dialed has not been recognized.
So,
Please
are
hang
you
up
doing
and
this
try
now,
again.
Kate?
I literally have just
Your call may
telepathically
be
gone,
recorded
"Hello,
for quality
Olivia,
purposes."
Can you hear me?
Welcome to the Green
Okay.
Organization call center. Calls may be reported for trading. and
Okay,
monitoring
this is hitting too close to home now.
I was about to say, you're triggering poor Rodrigo, Kim.
Yeah, now we just have to swear at him and slam the phone down. He's fine.
Please don't.
Should I ask to speak to his manager first? Come on, get it right.
Yeah.
Please don't.
To be fair, he just does different voice on
Right, okay,
man.
we're giving him PTSD. Let's move on. Right,
Okay.
So when you touch the symbol, you start to do it because you've used those symbols a few times now. You start to reach out for Olivia, and you do not connect. However, you do feel that there are other people with badges, not of this party, that are nearby.
Okay.
2 signals specifically.
Wow. Okay. So I can't detect Olivia, so I think you're right. We're too far away. But there are 2 other signals I can sense close by that aren't us. I wonder who they are.
It's like being in a room where you've got your back turned, but you can hear somebody walking behind you. It's like that, except instead of knowing that they're in the corner of the room or they're by the table or whatever, you can feel that one is on the road, possibly your driver, and another one seems to be in the direction of the woodland that's on the other side of the the fenlands.
So I can kind of detect roughly where they are.
Yeah, kind of compass points for the most part. But then a kind of sensation of distance as well. You've seen a local map, and that's where your estimations are.
So yeah, one's probably the driver, but the other person, I have no idea. They're off that way.
Your driver's name is Stuart, by the way.
Yep, because
Yes.
every driver is Stuart.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, this
Not
is the 16th
Stuart.
one we've lost this week.
This is the other Stuart who may well be dead, but we don't know yet. Who was highly traumatized by the death of his guard, is somewhere else. I can't remember where he went, and now we have a
No,
different one.
this is the same Stuart.
I thought there was another Stuart. You introduced a new person called Stuart, didn't you?
That was in town.
That was in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was down on
Okay,
that.
this is traumatized Stuart, who may or may not be a doppelganger now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the answer to the question is no. Can't reach Olivia. Could reach Stuart, or could reach whoever that is.
And Farewell, if you touch your badge, you'll also realise there's a signal that's more into the Fenlands. If I bring up the really cruddy map that I sketched the other day. So you can see you've got the mountains where the 3 gold mines are. You can see the big pink blob, which is Ostergald. You've got the light blue blob, which is Vaughanford, and the little black blobs, which are little minor villages. The red blob is location X, which you're going towards. And then you've kind of just ducked into the Fenlands a little bit. On the other side of the Fenlands, kind of where the geeky clean symbol is on the stream, there's a large forest. And somewhere on the edge of that forest, near
shop, it's just on the edge of the forest.
there is there's a ping somewhere in that forest.
Maybe you can ask the one that's furthest away to, like, chain a message for us, and I'll use my spell to talk to Dusk. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. I can do that. I mean, we have no idea who they are, but in theory, they're on our side because they're part of the Green Organization, unless they stole one of these and killed its owner.
Maybe, but then there's always the good chance that, you know, she might have sent them after us, considering the last time she let us go off on our own, we all came back with no memory, and...
That's true, I
Seems
wouldn't
very-
send us on our own again.
I would not either. I mean, I'm surprised she let us out the first time. I mean,
Maybe Stuart's really a spy and he's actually an amazing ninja and is like...
you did
No,
see his face
Stuart.
when I accidentally blurted out that his one of the guards was dead, right? I don't
Yeah.
think he's there.
No. That would have been cool, though. Anyway.
It's a double bluff. You should all kill Stuart.
Obviously.
Stu is also a mimic. It just turns out the whole campaign, everybody but us is mimics.
Punch Stuart
Stuart
and
is the real
hand
villain.
ideas to his face.
don't give away Simon's plot.
It's like,
Okay, so I'm relaying where we are.
what we're gonna do, and that we're
That,
still alive.
but I'm not saying that Merrick's alive, right?
I think we trust Clips, and we.
Didn't she say we could say that he might be alive?
No. She was very adamant that we keep our word where we supposedly promised not to tell anybody that he was alive. She was very adamant about that.
Oh yeah, she was very adamant. I thought she was gonna put a leash on you. Anyway.
Yep.
Okay, so we're okay, I can do this. I'm charismatic as fuck. Okay. I'm gonna message the random person.
I am a people person. I am
Yeah.
a people person.
I can't.
No, I'm not.
Phone calls.
Yeah. It's like picking up the phone to some random person you don't know.
Yeah, you are
hello?
cold calling.
Yeah, I know, totally. It's like, sorry to call.
Good afternoon, this is the Green Organization calling.
God damn it, Nick!
Everyone would think
I
that
will-
Nick's also worked in a
Stop
call
giving
center.
him war flashbacks. He just
So-
got out of 4th of July.
Call.
Right, let's get to this
Right.
conversation because I'd like to get up to a particular point in the session if I can.
I'm gonna I'm just gonna be like, hello, are you a member of the Green Organization? And I'm just gonna wait. That's it.
You know that meme of like that girl that's like shrugging her shoulders and holding her hand up and like, what the fuck are you doing? That is farewell right now. Like,
You wanted me to do this. Shut
there's
up.
the mental voice of a woman that comes back and says, "Hello, yes, I'm a green agent, and apparently so are you. Or you've stolen and somehow magically hacked somebody's badge."
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing about you. So okay, that's probably good that we're both thinking the same. I'm not. I am a member. So I wanted to relay a message. Shut up! I'm doing this in my head.
Of
You can't
your
hear me.
charisma is so showing.
We're trying to get a message back to Ostergold, to Miss Green, but we're too far away. Are you able to help relay?
Well, I have to use Animal Messenger if I'm sending out to her. I've only got one of the badges just in case somebody's trying to get through the woods towards me. I can locate people based on their badges. You're in the Fenlands. Why are you there?
Finding some stuff.
In a dungeon. It's a tomb.
There's a tomb in the Fenlands. I thought it was just
Yeah.
rotten shit in there.
Nope. No, there was a tomb with lots of bad things. They're all dead.
Glad to hear it. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. We're very cool. So
You sound pretty cool. Okay. Sorry to kind of get.
by the way,
I
I'm
was
Cora.
sleeping.
Sorry, hi.
I was kind of because I've got a late hunt tonight, so I was kind of sleeping. What
Sorry.
do you need
I was
from
sleeping
me?
too. My friend woke me up already.
Okay, so we both agree we should be asleep by now. So
We seem like we would get on really well. We should totally meet up when we're back in town.
are you hitting on me?
No. Are you hitting on me?
Well, I haven't seen you yet. All I know is that you've killed a load of bad things, which don't get me wrong is
Cute. I'm kind of cute.
a pretty good.
I'm kinda
Okay,
cute.
so you're cute
Anyway.
and you can kill things. That don't get me wrong. This is actually going in the right direction here. But
Why are
the
you on your own in the forest?
I'm so proud of
Well-
Cora.
I'm a wood elf. That kind of helps.
Quite just like her wood elves.
How about we start from like the civilized conversation? And I can't believe I'm saying that because I choose to live amongst animals. But my name is Glenda.
Glenda. Hi, Glenda. I'm Cora.
Oh, right, you're them.
Oh. What?
Sure.
Good or bad reputation?
No, but you have a reputation. I mean, hell, you kind of up and coming. You rescued the Duke's son, for crying out loud. Even I heard that.
See, I told you we're pretty good. We're pretty hot. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I can be convinced that you are hot. But I'm sorry, that would require a certain amount of assessment, probably with wine.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, indeed. So what exactly do you want so I can go back to sleep?
Okay, I would like you to send a message if you are able with
Yes.
your animal friends. To Miss
That makes me
Green.
sound like some sort of princess from a kid's book. I have the animal messenger
I've
spell,
read
and
some
I can.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just pick an animal, normally like a bird, because if I give it to
what
anything
is
land-based, it
taking
takes
so
forever.
long? What are you doing?
Talking.
And
Okay.
I send the bird to Ostergold. It goes to Renata or one of the
Really?
clerks,
Should
and
only
it
take
speaks
like
to
a
us.
couple of
You're so glad this isn't a mobile phone because only what you think can be heard.
Loving it. Carry on.
I can just imagine Farewell picks up the extension and goes, "Hello, who is this?"
Just listens.
So yeah. So if you can send a message to Renata, just saying that we're safe and well
Good.
so far.
Yep.
We have a bit more information than we had before. We detoured
Sure.
slightly to help out Eclipse, and
Sure.
we're heading north, south, east, west. I don't know, but I would have figured that, and we're gonna say where we're going.
Simon tells you that you know you're going south.
There we go. We're heading south to blah 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 blah. That I know.
Well, you just know it as the location. There's no name, so I'd say that you
point
We
probably
must know how to get there.
I
you're
take out
going
the map
south
and I just
from
point at it.
Vaughanford. Yep, you're going south from Vaughanford, the
Vaughanford.
south road.
Sure, we're going on the south road from Vaughanford to potentially where we lost our memories. That's probably too much for a bird to remember, so I'll stop.
No, the spell kind of traps the message with my voice in the animal, and then the animal goes and just recites it through the spell with my voice actually. So yeah, I can do all that for you, no problem. And so you're going to the place where you lost your memories. That's going to be interesting. Okay, so I'm in Branwood at the moment. It's a halfling, forest gnome, and wood elf dwelling here in the Bren Forest, and Brenwood is just a kind of weird. Well, I say weird. It's actually quite nice here. It's like a forest village.
You live there permanently?
I spend most of my time here, yeah, and
Are you done yet?
the people of Brenwood are gameskeepers. Really, they stop people from poaching in the wood, but they also sell food at discount rates as well. So anybody who needs food, they can get it from us. And
But why is a member of the Green organization there?
largely because a lot of the
not
regulated
doing
food that
it?
we get from here, mushrooms, meat, pelts, things like that we can get from here, we supply to the armies, and Renata wants to make sure that she has information as to how well that's going.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you get back to sleep. Lovely to meet you, kind of virtually. Happy sending messages, and
Sure.
yeah, maybe see.
I'll
see
hit you up next
around.
time I'm in the city, and we can have that drink.
Yeah, if we end up going through Brandwood, we'll say hi.
Sure.
Thank you.
Just
Simon,
yeah.
I have a question, because if I remember the way the way communicating with the badge works, and if I'm correct, can you tell me, is it true that all of us are hearing this conversation right now?
No, you can just do one badge to another, or
Oh, okay.
you can send it out to the party. It allows that kind of functionality where
Okay,
you
okay.
will where your voice and your message is going, and that's the person who receives it.
Okay.
Okay, so Cora kind of hangs up with Glenda, and
Oh my god, farewell. She's called Glenda. She's really cool. She talks to animals. We're gonna maybe meet up next time she's in town.
You got a date messaging random.
No, I didn't get a date,
I mean-
but I maybe found a friend. She seems very similar to us.
well, she swiped
So-
the right way on the badge, you see. So you know. It's,
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh, boo! Boo!
well, anyway, I did that. She's gonna send a message via an animal to Renata.
Oh,
So there you go. I did mine.
does Renata speak
Now
animal?
it's your turn. They talk in her voice or something strange. Magic
Oh, that's
is weird,
weird.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's really. I mean, and I thought what I did was weird. I mean, that's super weird,
no,
right?
it is. You can breathe in baths. It's pretty weird.
No, that's racist. That's not magic. I'm made
Maybe
like
I'm
that.
just jealous because you can breathe underwater.
I keep telling you that I can teach you to swim and like hold your breath. I can't teach you to breathe underwater. I can make you breathe underwater, but that's neither here nor there. That's different spell for it.
Anyway, call
Oh
us.
yeah. Okay.
You could have been doing that while I was doing this anyway. Jeez.
so you guys.
It's this horrible dawning moment of realization where he's like, "Shit, she's completely right." I have to stand there for the entire conversation going, is everything alright? What the fuck are you doing? I could have actually made his call as well. It's like, oh. Huh. Carry on, man.
So you guys carry on with the rest of your watch. I'm actually going to spin back around to Aiden again, because he's asleep now.
Do I not get to message Dusk, or do you just not want to do that?
Oh, actually, yeah, we've got time for both. We've got 18 minutes, so we've got time for both.
I don't want to. I don't want to take all the time up. If people want to do other things, I'm quite happy.
I think the message
to
from
leave
Dusk
it.
is the message to Dusk is going to be pretty simple. So let's do that. Let's get that done, because otherwise I'll forget.
Let's just start flirting with her, right?
Okay.
Yeah, unless you ask for a backstory or something, which I just don't do that. So
I've got 20 words.
yeah, you get 20 words. So what are your 20 words?
Beware of the Duke. He's using necrotic magic to fund his enchantments. I've got that. There is a device called the Entropica, and I think that's my 20.
Sure. Okay. I'll allow that. I think that may have been 21 words, but I'll allow the whole message.
I think that's fine.
I thought that was 20 on the dot. I thought I did
it
really well.
It might be 20 on the dot. I may have counted twice on something. So that goes through. So Dusk, you can tell at this time she's normally doing the evening prayer. And
in the middle of mass, just
in the middle of
straight into her
mass,
head.
she just gets this huge conspiratorial message in the middle of mass now. No, it's she's not always the person at the front. Normally, it'll be one of the priests or priestesses that are doing it. You can tell she's gone to one side, and she says, "Grave news indeed. The Duke will do anything to win. Normally stays on the side of good, but I'll check." And that's your 20 words back.
Cool.
Man, and I thought that the Twitter limit was strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Dusk. How are you doing? So I was thinking that maybe we should talk
I
about.
am not Jester. I'm not going to sit there and do a Jester and blow 3 spell slots just so we can have a conversation.
Hi there, how you doing? I'm fine. By the way, it's farewell. Okay. So
Yeah. So that's all I needed to do. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Aiden, after your moment of just walking around investigating, kind of making sense of everything that's happened, you look at the undead that you helped dispatch, and you feel like a tension has been lifted from your shoulders. Some of the irritation that you were feeling maybe in the city of suddenly just letting the hunt go, letting it, just run its course, let that power in your veins do what it was designed to do. You find sleep. The sleep isn't the best sleep. It's slightly fitful. And you find yourself dreaming as if something's maybe burning a hole in your pocket. And you realize that you're probably detecting the Bodak eye that you have on you. Or perhaps maybe the Deathlock skull that you now have in your possessions. You realize that the Deathlock skull, I think you put in your bag of holding. And you're going, this is just my mind doing this. I'm just focusing on weird shit instead of relaxing. Why can't I just relax?
Right.
And as you do so, you try to think of something else. Anything else. Just to distract yourself. You're kind of in a bit of lucid sleep. You kind of know that you're in sleep. And you're like, come on, brain, stop being a dick. Why are you giving me this? Why can't I just have a nice dream or just have a dreamless sleep? Come on. So you're just trying to distract yourself in your dream, trying to lucid dream something a little more pleasant. and suddenly you see a vista. You see a sky that is coming, and probably a little past dusk, a lovely mixture of dull dark blues, purples, like the hint of a sunset has just disappeared. Grey clouds pass across the sky, leaving the entire landscape in blacks and dark reliefs. You can feel under your fingertips a rough, kind of moss-covered stonework. Instead of it being finely sculpted, this is given away to the withers of age. You're looking out of a castle port window, arched at the top, with a sill at the bottom, and you know that the rest of the stonework around it has that same aged, weathered feel to it. Your fingers skitter across the stonework, making kind of click-clacking noises. Something quite hard on your fingers. Maybe some plate gloves? You're not sure. Just run over them. And you turn to your pet that's on a perch just by your right shoulder. And you say, "How about you, my pet? Do you think that you would do better? I don't want you to kill them, just find out what they're doing. They're becoming a nuisance to me. That's the last thing I want." You suddenly turn to see whatever this body that you seem to be looking out of is looking at, and on the perch is an undead bird. Matted, ripped feathers all over its skeletal form. Its skin underneath the feathers just stuck, almost like it's vacuum sealing the skeleton. And it's looking at you through one milky, cataracted eye that's desiccated and dry. It opens its beak as if to caw, because you have a feeling this was maybe a rook or a raven. And instead of that usual chordate sound, the kind of lively, energetic caw, it kind of eases its chest as if it's about to make a sound, and instead there's just this death rattle.
Ew.
Yeah.
Our mimic is a lot better.
I'm
My pet's
completely,
better than your pet.
I'm completely with Felicia on this one. You.
Aiden,
Oh.
being that you're looking at this, let's see if you can identify the undead pet. I'd like you to make a religion, or what did I give you before? Or just a straight intelligence roll with proficiency.
Okay.
And yes,
Imagine. Okay.
Yeah, it does go off. Yeah, your advantage goes off. It's an undead.
Obviously.
22.
22. Yeah, you've heard of
Nice.
these. These little fuckers are nasty. It's called a shrike.
Ah. Oh, that sounds familiar. I don't like that.
Shrikes, not strikes, shrikes. Shrikes are undead birds. They are usually the familiars of powerful undead casters.
Mm-hmm.
They fly incredibly, incredibly fast. They're a blur for the most part.
Okay.
They avoid direct sunlight and prefer to fly at night or in darkness, but if their masters will them to, they will fly during the day, but they'll normally kind of fly at this breakneck speed from shadow to shadow. They normally are quite resistant to damage, and even though they seem to have frail forms, can take a hell of a beating to get rid of, and usually the most dangerous thing about them is they can cast their master's spells through them at distance.
Oh shit.
Okay.
It's not just touch
I
spells.
got two questions.
Mm-hmm.
That I want to do things, but I want to do them like basically in half a second. One, can I recognize where I am as the undead wizard, whatever?
So you have a feeling that you are looking out of the master or someone who works for the master, pretty high level if they've got a shrike, and you have seen some of the landscape. I'd like you to you wanted to identify the location first. You won't be able to identify the castle with what little that you've seen, but you could probably see if you can extrapolate the location. Now, you come from a bleak landscape called Vestad, yeah? That's Vehtstaht, I think I spelled it as. I'll send it later. And I think it's actually in the document that I put below this in the show notes. So that's a pretty bleak landscape. So you're going to look to see if it's anything from that. So I'd like you to make a survival check, which is kind of a navigation check first.
Right. Okay. That's a 17.
A 17, it's nowhere in Vestad that you recognize. And it looks pretty dilapidated. Also, yes, it is winter in Vardencourt at the moment. It's the equivalent of the end of September, start of October, where you are now. And it should be bleak even in Vestad, but it just looks a bit run down, even beyond that. So you've already passed the first skill check, so I'll allow you to do the advanced skill check. And I will allow you again to make either a religion check or an intelligence check with advantage. A religion check with proficiency, and I will still apply advantage in this case.
Okay. Religion. Good thing for the advantage, Jesus. That is a 16.
16. Yeah, you get it. This roll was only allowed if you passed the previous one, and you did with flying colours. As you look out onto the landscape, and especially as you look into the sky, you see that the greys and purples and blues, the sunset that has just set, you realise that sunset has never risen. You feel, even as you're sleeping, your eyes suddenly turn black. The pupils start to have that white silver edge to them all, as you realise that you're looking into the Shadowfell.
Oh shit, son.
Now, probably best to give you a bit of a lore here. There's two planes that work with death. There's the ethereal plane, which is where you'll find a lot of ghosts and things like that, and that's parallel to the physical plane. And I've also put in that there's a space between kind of the ethereal plane and the mortal gate, which is where a lot of the it's kind of like a wasteland where ghosts and things go to as well. And so if I say you're going into death, or I've said before where Farewell drops into death, that's what I'm talking about. He drops into this void where nothing exists. It's just complete blackness. The Shadowfell is the other place that is directly associated with death, and specifically it's associated with undeath. So Curse of Strahd, that's in the Shadowfell.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Quick question. Do I know where the strike is heading?
The hand picks up the shrike, and you notice that the reason why the hand was clicking over the stone is that it does have flesh on it, but at the fingertips, it seems that they've literally worn the flesh away from the fingertips. So the fingertips, instead of having fingernails, have actually got protruding finger bones coming out of the flesh. And he picks up the shrike and says, "Follow them. Follow them and report back. I may wish to enact my will through you." And throws this thing out the window, and with a body that should not be able to hold itself aloft, this zombie skeletal bird stretches its wings. As it does so, you can see that small shadowy tendrils appear between the wings and seem to make it a little more substantial, and it darts off across to the horizon at insane speeds.
I force myself awake.
Okay.
I don't care how.
No, you're lucid dreaming. You can do that. I told you at the beginning, you're lucid dreaming. You suddenly pull yourself awake, and you can feel that your eyes has this, that your eyes have done the same thing, and that your body is pumping. The adrenaline is pumping through your veins. You can feel the veins in your neck feel like tree trunks, and your eyes are just this jet black.
It feels terrible, and I go and immediately wake Farewell up.
Farewell is currently doing his watch. So you walk in there, and Cora and Farewell are kind of semi-arguing about something about a phone call. But anyway,
I don't fucking care. I go up to them, and I go, we need to leave now.
What do you mean we need to leave?
I mean we need to fucking, book it.
Is his eyes doing the thing?
His eyes are jet black.
My eyes are like black Celery with piercing white eyes. That's how they look.
Why?
And I
Laura,
go.
You get the others.
going.
You and I. I assume I've had enough sleep to class as a long rest. Yeah.
I'll allow it.
I don't.
For the sake of drama, I'll allow that you've all had a long rest.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Surely not.
You get all your spells back on a short rest.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm just saying, but potential exhaustion. I'm just saying, I didn't sleep, and then you woke me up pretty early into your watch, didn't you?
Well, Simon said
it's a Simon thing. I'm waking Glory and Eclipse up.
Okay, let's be fair with this. Kate, roll me a Constitution check.
Roll a Constitution.
Yes. So I tell.
You and I, let's get to the entrance. I think there's only one way in here. Let's be ready.
Yes, Kate.
Right. Okay.
7.
A 7. Yeah, you have a point of exhaustion. I lowered the DC to 10, but you have a point of exhaustion.
Yeah,
you haven't
I rolled
quite
shit.
done it. So I'm going to say because it isn't that late yet, it's still 8 p.m. You can get. You don't need to apply the exhaustion until the next morning. So you have the rest of the night without exhaustion, but tomorrow morning you're fucked.
I thought it was in the middle of the night now, so...
Yeah, it's about...
It is. I'm waking you guys
10, 11 at night now. Many of you have been asleep for most of that.
Yeah.
No, I'll say it's a bit longer than that. I'll say it's coming close to midnight. I'll say that everybody apart from Cora, because Kate said, she's been woken up a lot and poked and prodded a lot. I'll say that she'll get a point of exhaustion.
Chatting as well, stupidly.
Yeah,
I tell Farewell.
Use this as my watch, and maybe someone else can do the third watch, and then.
Yeah. I tell Farewell. Okay, if we cannot fight it, do you have anything that will be able to hide us?
I can
find out next time on the Benefactor.
Yeah.
Will our heroes get out of this in time? Find out next time.
Find out. The same D&D channel, same D&D time.
But the new time of Fridays, don't forget that, folks.
Yes.
Due to network issues, we have now relocated to a new time slot.
So, thank you very much, everybody. We will stop there. There was a bit more I could have given you, but as Corinne's called it, we'll call it.
She is so amazing, considering she's probably running on 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think she was watching the clock counting down. So, we'll stop there with Aiden getting everybody to get the fuck out of Dodge because he thinks that a skeletal bird is coming. So,
Sounds kind of...
We'll say that we'll pick up next week with you guys leaving this place. So we'll just say that everybody's packing up, leaving, and getting out to Stuart and the carriage. And we'll start next session on the road if you're okay with that, unless there's anything in particular you want to do before you leave.
That sounds good.
Yeah, cool.
It works for
Good
us.
stuff. Because that was the next kind of thing I had for you, is that on the road, on the way to location X. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you to a number of people talking in chat. So we've got Rattle as Ganondorf, hello again. Magaloth, Felicia's dad, hello. And we had
Hey,
Ammon Doctor
Connie.
and, of course, Snipe right from the start as well. So Snipe followed us all the way through. Thanks, dude. I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed anybody. No, I think that's pretty much it. Anybody
Anyone
else?
else
Say hello.
who's lurking?
Yep, if anybody's looking
Yes.
and you liked our particular brand of chaos, please join our Discord server below. I will try to make anybody who goes in there into going into the members room to say hi. Just kind of go in there and say, hi, I'm whoever from the stream chat, and we will...
Subscribe. Yes, like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
It's only subscribe. It's only
I
fucking
don't-
Twitch.
Yeah,
It's
I don't,
fine.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need people to subscribe. If you want to, fantastic. There is a boon that I put when people do subscribe to the service, and that is when people do subscribe, we've only had Rattle so far, they get certain boons, and one of them is that
Hours.
I have a conspiracy chat in the Discord where subscribers can get in there, but the rest of the players can't. And the rest of the viewers can't. Only people who are down as subscribed. I think I've just got Rattle in there at the moment. And occasionally I put people... Oh, I think we just had a subscriber. I just got binged.
No, that was me who accidentally clicked on follow because I saw a heart. I was
So
like,
you got
oh,
my
that's
hopes
like.
up. Fine. Okay.
I was like, oh no, that was on follow, and I clicked follow again. So
Okay,
that was
right.
me.
So what you're saying is you're interrupting. Stop it. If you do want to subscribe, we have got something in place, and that is when people are subscribing, I give them certain questions as to say, oh, should it be this or should it be that? You know, what type of thing that should they go up to? So if you do want to do that for a bit of fun, it helps support the improvements to the stream. So if any of us needs like a new mic or a webcam or something like that, we'll be able to
Please.
put that money towards it and throw it to those who need it. And
Secrets.
you get secrets.
Yes.
You do indeed get secrets, and I want to be doing more of that as people pull along. So thank you very much for that. But ordinarily we don't ask people to subscribe. It's just a choice that people can do, and then we provide something if you have it. We do this mostly for the fun amongst ourselves and to entertain those who watch. So thank you very much, everybody. Love you to bits, and we will see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.